हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय, हमारे विशिष्ट अतिथिगण सभागार में उपस्थित हो चुके हैं। जोरदार तालियों के साथ इनका स्वागत किया जाए। नमस्कार। एपी शिंदे सभागार में उपस्थित सभी गणमान्यों का मैं अदिति शर्मा हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ। आज एक बेहद खास मौका है। आइए इस अवसर के बारे में जानने के लिए थोड़ा पीछे चलते हैं। बात करते हैं सन 1973 की। इस वर्ष की नवंबर माह की 1 तारीख को कृषि के क्षेत्र में एक बदलाव आया था। जी हाँ, कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल की स्थापना की गई थी, जिसे आमतौर पर हम एग्रीकल्चर साइंटिस्ट रिक्रूटमेंट बोर्ड या फिर हम कहें कि ASRB के नाम से जानते हैं। वर्षों से कृषि जगत में कार्य होता ही आ रहा था, लेकिन जब से इस बोर्ड की स्थापना हुई तब से इस क्षेत्र में तेजी से बदलाव होता हुआ हम सभी ने देखा है। बात करें हम हरित क्रांति की, नीली क्रांति, श्वेत क्रांति, पीली क्रांति, यहाँ तक कि इंद्रधनुष क्रांति की, ये सभी लाने में इस मंडल का बहुत ही अहम योगदान रहा है। जी हाँ, ASRB ने देश को हमारी सोना रूपी फसलें तराशने वाले वैज्ञानिक जो दिए हैं। लगातार बता दें आपको कि आज ASRB देश के लगभग 113 संस्थानों से जुड़ा हुआ है और वैज्ञानिकों की बात करें, हम अधिकारी गणों की बात करें, उच्च अधिकारी गणों की बात करें तो सभी की नियुक्ति का काम भी कर रहा है। और ये कहना गलत नहीं होगा कि देश के विकास में भी ASRB एक महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभा रहा है और अपना अहम योगदान भी दे रहा है। आज इस सभागार में हम कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल यानी कि ASRB के 52वें स्थापना दिवस के उपलक्ष्य में आयोजित इस विशेष कार्यक्रम में उपस्थित हैं और यहाँ पर उपस्थित हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय, हमारे विशिष्ट अतिथि महोदय, हमारे सभी अतिथिगण और ICR के महानिदेशक महोदय, उप महानिदेशक महोदय, अपर महानिदेशक, उच्च अधिकारी गण, साथ ही साथ हमारे वैज्ञानिक गण, अनुभाग अधिकारी, सभी गणमान्यों का मैं हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूं। एक बार जोरदार तालियां हम सभी के लिए हो जाए। तो आइए आज के इस विशेष कार्यक्रम का हम शुभ आरंभ करते हैं दीप प्रज्वलन के साथ और इसके लिए मैं सभी गणमान्यों का यहाँ पर को आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी। आप सभी यहाँ पर पधार कर इस सभागार को रोशन करें।
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धि विनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः।
इस सभागार को रोशन करने के लिए और इस कार्यक्रम में चकाचौंध भरने के लिए सभी अतिथि महोदयों का मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहूंगी। इसके साथ आइए बढ़ते हैं। हम सभी जानते हैं अतिथि देवो भव। हमारे देश में अतिथि का स्वागत करने की परंपरा है। जी हाँ, अतिथि का आदर सत्कार होना चाहिए और इसके लिए अब मैं आग्रह करना चाहूंगी ASRB के चेयरमैन डॉक्टर संजय कुमार जी से, महोदय आप सभी अतिथि गणों का स्वागत पौधरूपी भेंट देकर करें। तो सबसे पहले जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत किया जाए हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय डॉक्टर शेखर सी मांडे जी का, जो सावित्रीबाई फुले पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी में विशिष्ट प्रोफेसर हैं और DSIR के पूर्व सचिव एवं CSIR के पूर्व DG रहे हैं। बता दें, अपने अद्भुत ज्ञान और अहम योगदान के लिए देश में बायोलॉजिकल साइंसेज कैटेगरी के सर्वश्रेष्ठ पुरस्कार शांति स्वरूप भटनागर प्राइज फॉर साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी से भी सम्मानित किए जा चुके हैं। एक बार जोरदार तालियां हो जाए हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय के लिए। हमारे समक्ष उपस्थित है हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर डॉक्टर हिमांशु पाठक जी, जो DG ICR है और सेक्रेटरी जेयर है। साथ ही साथ हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह जी, जो रानी लक्ष्मीबाई सेंट्रल एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी के चांसलर हैं और डेयर के पूर्व सचिव और ICR के पूर्व महानिदेशक महोदय रहे हैं। डॉक्टर त्रिलोचन महापात्रा, चेयरमैन PPVFRA और पूर्व सचिव डेयर एवं पूर्व महानिदेशक ICAR। डॉक्टर RB सिंह, फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ASRB कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के पूर्व चेयरमैन। Dr. C.D. Mai, former chairman, Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board. Dr. Gurbachan Singh, former chairman, ASRB, यानी कि कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल. Dr. Gurbachan Singh. Dr. Aditya Kumar Mishra, former chairman, Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board. Dr. N.K. Tyagi, former member, Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board. तालियां जो हैं वो रुकनी नहीं चाहिए. डॉक्टर M.G. मोडाइल, फॉर्मर मेंबर ASRB कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के पूर्व मेंबर, पूर्व सदस्य डॉक्टर M.G. मोडाइल. P.K. Chakrabarti, former member ASRB. डॉक्टर P.K. Chakrabarti, पूर्व सदस्य ASRB. और डॉक्टर K.K. सिंह, पूर्व सदस्य ASRB. डॉक्टर K.K. सिंह, former member ASRB. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय, और आप सभी अतिथिगणों का मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगी। आपने अपना कीमती समय हम सभी को दिया है और यहाँ पर उपस्थित हुए हैं। आइए इसी के साथ हम कार्यक्रम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं और अब स्वागत संबोधन और संक्षिप्त प्रस्तुति के लिए मैं आग्रह करना चाहूँगी पुनः ASRB के चेयरमैन डॉक्टर संजय कुमार जी से। जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं।
Very good morning and a very warm welcome to each one of you on the 52nd Foundation Day of our ASRB, and also very warm wishes on the occasion, very auspicious occasion of Chhath Puja. That festival is going on throughout the country. And I am sure that you will all agree with me that when it's a Foundation Day, it's the day when we celebrate our legacy. It is the day when we honor our roots. It is the day when we commit for a brighter tomorrow. And I am so honored today that on the stage we have such esteemed dignitaries to grace this occasion, and which is a perfect representation of our past, our present, and the guiding light for our future. You will all agree. So once again, please give a very big round of applause for our dignitaries. We are so privileged today that we have none other than Dr. Shekhar C. Mande, who is the distinguished professor at Savitribai Phule Pune University, and formerly he was our DG CSIR and also Secretary DSIR. And I had the privilege to work with him very closely for nearly 4 years when he was DG and I was director at Palampur. And I must tell you, it was truly a rewarding experience. And if you talk of a pleasant and a productive working environment, I think you need to work with him to experience that. It was full of visibility everywhere as long as he was our DG at CSIR. I remember during the pandemic time also, when the whole country was almost in shutdown mode, at that time he geared up the whole labs of 37 labs of CSIR so that everybody delivers something relevant to the nation. And although we all know he is a renowned structure biologist of the nation, not only nation, I think internationally he is a renowned structure biologist and known for his work on infectious diseases. And when he was DG CSIR, several programs related to even agriculture, like you talk of aroma, you talk of floriculture mission, everything he initiated during his tenure. And that was something very fruitful, and even today Honorable Prime Minister remembers all those contributions. And what can be more than this, that today we have Dr. Himanshu Pathakji with us, DG ICAR, and the Secretary there. I think nothing can be more delightful than this, that he spared his time for us today. I remember when I was scientist at IHBT and we used to talk of abiotic stress or climate change, everybody would say, you go and consult Dr. Himanshu Pathak from IRI. And I remember that I used to be scientist CEO even at that time, and I used to come here and discuss some of the things. And he initiated at that time those things which we never thought of. I remember once Dr. Sinha talking about you. He said, I think it was some new induction at that time, and he said, we have the brightest of ARS scientists who will be proved to be an asset for this organization. And I think he was so correct at that time. It's hard to believe the visionaries like him, they identified a visionary like Dr. Himanshu Pathakji, who is not leading the ICR from the front, but also internationally he is so well recognized. I think we all are so proud of you, Dr. Saab, that you are here with us today. And one more thing also, I must tell that he is a very strong supporter of ASRB. Whenever we reach to him for any help, I text him, and within 5 or 10 minutes I get back the response, yes, don't worry, we'll take care. So I think that sort of support, if somebody gets from an organization, I think that's a very big support. So we are so grateful, Dr. Pathakji, that you are here with us today. Also, another stalwart today we have on the stage, Dr. Punjab Singh, who is Chancellor of Rani Lakshmi Bai, Central Agriculture University, and the former Secretary of DARE and the DG ICAR. We all know his enormous contribution. You talk of soil science, you talk of agronomy, you talk of water management, you talk of semi-arid agriculture, and Dr. Punjab Singh name stands out. I remember, sir, in Dehradun, I think I was a very small scientist at that time, and we were so curious to learn about you. You were talking something on climate change, I think around 15-20 years back. I still remember, that what a great thing and great visionary leaders we have today sitting on this stage. And we know when he was the DG ICR, he was so instrumental in promoting the agriculture research and development, particularly on technology transfer. I think you had a lot of emphasis on technology transfer that ensured food security for the growing population of our nation. And we are so honored that today we have Dr. Tilochan Mahapatra ji also with us. He is a distinguished scientist, and we know that he is chairman of the PPVFRA. That is a very long name, so I am using the acronym. Hope you will, you don't mind. And we know that he had been the formerly Secretary of DARE and also the DG ICR. And we used to share the common hostel during our PhD days. I still remember his green colored bicycle by which he used to travel throughout IRI. I think that was the characteristic of all of us who were at IRI in hostel at that time. We all used to have some or the other type of bicycle, and we were all identified by that. But when you talk of genomics, when you talk of marker-assisted breeding, when you talk of molecular genetics, when you talk of genome sequencing of rice and tomato, when you talk of release of crop varieties, I think more than 15 crop varieties, he has his name. I think his contribution to agriculture sciences is enormous. I remember when he took over as a DG ICR, at that time he initiated some of the programs on gene editing. Dr. Punjab Singh used to be the chairman of NASF, and Dr. Mahapatra ji used to be there, and I was also the member at that time. And all such state-of-art program on gene editing, they were being launched and discussed at that time. I remember very categorically. And he used to talk of biofortification at that time, that crop should be biofortified. So with such projections for Indian agriculture, I think he is the one now who is leading PPFRA and contributing so immensely and working for promoting farmers' right. And today we are so privileged that we have our former distinguished chairpersons of ASRB with us. And their presence brings specific distinction to this occasion. Like we have Professor R.B. Singh ji. Not only he had been former chairman, but also he was formerly the chancellor of the Central Agriculture University in Imphal. And Dr. R.B. Singh Sahab and agriculture sciences, almost they are synonymous. When you were at IRI, I remember IRI used to always have was in the forefront under your leadership. Then we had Dr. Mai Sahab, Dr. Gurbachan ji, Dr. Adit Kumar Mishra ji, and I must mention that each of them have contributed immensely to strengthen ASRB's role in selecting the finest mind in agriculture research, and also they championed the mission of excellence that defines ASRB, which is today. And with deep appreciation, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to our former members of ASRB for their invaluable contributions, insights, and dedicated services. Like, for example, we have Dr. N.K. Tyagi ji, Professor Mudayal ji, Dr. P.K. Chakravarti ji, Dr. K.K. Singh Saab, and I must mention that their collective efforts have laid the groundwork for a brighter future, not only for ASRB, but also for Indian agriculture. I was just discussing during tea time all their experiences, and they were so rich, and I am sure that after today's deliberation, ASRB will be further enriched and give us some work for tomorrow, what we can do in a better way. And we extend our warm welcome to our ASRB chairmen and also our secretary, Madam Garima Srivastava. We have Dr. Kumothi ji, who is the member Animal Science. We have Dr. Major Singh ji, who is member Plant Science. Dr. Dwivedi ji, who is member Natural Resource Management. And each of them, they bring very specific expertise and dedication which forefront our mission. We are so honored today that we have the presence of several distinguished dignitaries in this hall. We have several Deputy Director Generals, Additional Director Generals, Directors, HODs, and esteemed scientists and dedicated staff of ASRB. And I must admit that your presence enriches this event and inspires us all by your presence. And we feel that we are committed to provide quality human capital to the agriculture research system of our nation. And therefore, I sometimes feel that ASRB cultivates tomorrow, today, by providing the quality manpower. So that's what I feel about ASRB. And I feel that ASRB should remain the trusted partner in providing the quality manpower to our national agriculture research system. That's what we feel. And therefore, sometimes we say that ASRB also stands for assured support for robust brilliance. That's what I also feel about ASRB. And as we celebrate our foundation day today, let's remember our achievements. over the last 51 years that ASRB has made, and through the shared vision of our ASRB's founders and members who have been part of this journey. And I must also mention that our journey started, long back, somewhere in 1972. I think I just want to bring now my presentation. Can you bring out this presentation? Yes. So I just wanted to show one small Lok Sabha debate. And can you believe that none other than late Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji, he mentioned in Lok Sabha that, previously scientists of ICR, they were recruited by UPSC. And he said that UPSC is not the right organization to appoint scientists of ICR. And it was a long debate, it continued. And at the end of the debate, the then Agriculture Minister Sri Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed ji, he constituted one committee under the leadership of Sri Gajendra Gadkar. And there were several other eminent members like Nag Chaudhary ji, Dr. Nag Chaudhary ji, Dr. Kothari, and so many distinguished people. And they said that there should be something different to appoint the scientists of ICAR. But initially they said that at least you give more 5 years to UPSC. In the meantime, you make your own preparation. Although they did not recommend that something like ASRB should come in. But then what happened is, at that time, since discussion was going on, then there was a committee which was led by Sri Fakhruddin Ali Ahmed ji and our very prominent minister like Sri Subramaniam, Professor Nurul Hasan, Ram Nivas Mirza ji. They all recommended that there should be a special agriculture scientist recruitment board. And then this recommendation was accepted by the cabinet in November 1973. And from there the journey started. Our first chairperson was Dr. Sahare, and he was the member of UPSC because it was decided that the competence and the expertise of UPSC should be there when we established the ASRB. And that's how the journey started. And at that time, Dr. Swaminathan, he was a key person who played a very key role in establishing ASRB. And you will be surprised, at that time ARS was not there. So in 1975, Agriculture Research Services, it was constituted, and also then a separate cadre on research management position, RMP, which we call it, it was constituted in 1976. So these were two major developments which led to the expanded role of ASRB. And then the whole mandate of ASRB was defined. It was around recruitment, it was around promotion, it was also on the induction of existing scientists into the ARS system. So it was a very expanded role of ASRB. And at that time we did not have any building, so first office was in Southex, one rented building, and that's how ASRB started. And this slide I wanted to show you. After this, in 1976 we had the first ARS examination, and so heartening. Our nation wanted the experts available throughout the world. So they had the center not only in India, but also in London, Moscow and Washington. I think that was very, very unique thing. And one unique thing, that during Viva Voce examination, they said that there should be 14 different languages which should be permitted, including Sanskrit, Urdu and Kashmiri. So that was the vision, that because of language should not be a barrier in anybody's induction into the ICR system. And this, just for the purpose of reminiscence, I just wanted to show first picture, that after induction, after the scientists are recruited through ARS, they underwent a training on project management, and at that time Central Staff College for Agriculture, which was in Andhra, it used to be the Center for Imparting Training, and nowadays it is known as NARM. In 1979 this name was changed. So just for the purpose of reminiscence, I thought I'll just show you this picture. So NARM director, I requested him and he shared with me this picture. Now, up till now we are talking only of scientists. Then from 1978, they were direct recruitment for technical officers also. So that responsibility also came up to ASRB. And then also it was realized that there were several senior positions were lying vacant. So from 1979, the lateral entry system started, direct recruitment at senior position. This started in 1979, and I think initially around 273 positions, they were filled through direct entry or this lateral entry system. And also then came the responsibility of assessment. From 1970 onwards, we started assessing various scientists for different level. And interestingly, at that time we were also giving the advance increment to the scientists who were deserving candidates. They were also given the advance increments. So just I thought that I will show you. That's how ASRB was doing some of the job for ICAR. And then apart from scientific and technical position, also administrative positions were advertised. So for section officers, assistants, all these were filled up through all India examination by ASRB, and it started from 1982. Then one good thing happened, since our scope was expanding, we wanted some space. So ASRB was shifted into Krishi Anusandhan Bhavan. We call it popularly as CAB 1, right? So CAB 1 was the place, I think, sir, you also visited, Dr. Mande, sir, when we were at CAB 1. ASRB was established there, and from there it started functioning. Since our scope was expanding, so in 1986, earlier there was a single member committee, 2 more members joined ASRB. So it became a 3-member committee in 1986. So that's how the journey started. And then there were some more recruitment for administrative position, that section officers and assistant and all India examination of AO and FAO, administrative officer and finance and account officer, they were also started being recruited through ASRB. So the scope of ASRB was getting more and more. Then NET examination was also started being conducted by ASRB, and this was the request of our state agriculture universities, because they wanted that there should be quality manpower which should be recognized. So that's how NET examination started. And I must also give credit to at least 13 different committees, starting from Srinivas Shastri committee in 1997, then GVK Rao committee, Kirti Singh committee, Dr. Mashelkar committee, Dr. Swaminathan task force, Dr. Katyal committee, Dr. Sawant committee, Dr. N.K. Tyagi committee, sir is sitting here with us. Then Dr. Kranti's committee, Dr. Parodas committee, 2 committees were there, Dr. Madeyal's committee. So Dr. Saab is also sitting here with us. Then Dr. S.L. Mehta committee, then Professor Poroda review committee 2018. So there were 13 different committees which have been giving input for betterment of ASRB as well as ICR. So ASRB, so one can imagine how much input of our stalwarts has gone into establishment of ASRB. Then in order to enhance the transparency and efficiency, in 2000, the scorecard system, I think, which is very unique and very quantified system to assess the quality of manpower, it was introduced in 2000. And also assessment procedures and processes for advancement scheme, they were also laid down. And in 2014, we shifted from OMR format to the CBT format for NET and ARS examination. So ASRB actually kept on changing itself with the pace of the technology. And then in 2018, something unique happened, that Government of India through cabinet meeting said that let ASRB should be a different entity from ICAR, and it was de-linked from ICAR for its budget, also for its manpower, and this was a major shift of ASRB from ICAR. And also we did a lot of digital transformation. If you see from 2000 onwards, like we went into this online application mode. I think today in the hall we were discussing, Dr. Maisa was discussing that how they brought in online application mode, fees payment, admit card issues, online tests, result declaration, everything was online. And in 2018, we said that NET certificate should also be given through DigiLocker system. And even during COVID-19 pandemic, ASRB did not stop. I think it developed a video conferencing system, and assessment and promotion and induction and recruitment, it continued. So I think ASRB that way keeps on pace with the changing time. And I should also mention why there was expansion in ICR as well as ASRB. I think both of them almost traveled together. Remember in 1975 we had only, ICR had only 28 institutions, 83 42, and currently 113 institutions. And accordingly, if you see, ASRB initially had only one chairman. In 1986 we have one chairman and two members, and 2018 it was de-linked from ICR, and now it is part of DARE, and we have now 3 members and 1 secretary. It's the full-time secretary what we have now. So we are now 4 members plus 1 secretary. This is the constitution of ASRB. And I wanted to give credit to all our former chairpersons of ASRB, starting from Dr. Sahare to Dr. Arkeri, to Dr. GSP Yadav Sahab, to Dr. Maharaj Singh ji, to Dr. NGP Rao, Dr. A.L. Chaudhary ji, Professor RB Singh ji is with us. We are so happy. Then we had Dr. Mahadevappa, Dr. Faroda Sahab, Dr. Mai Sahab is with us, so happy. Dr. Gurbachan Singh ji with us, Dr. Aditya Kumar Mishra ji is with us, and Dr. Mahapatra and Dr. Pathak ji, they were giving the additional charge. But I think what I understand, although you had the additional charge, but I think the productivity of ASRB was like as if you were the full-time chairman. So I think credit goes to them. Even they had the additional charge, but I think they contributed immensely for ASRB. Then we have series of members. It started from Dr. Kanungo to Dr. RPS Tyagi to Dr. Raman to Dr. Kirti Singh. And in fact, he also was holding the additional charge of chairman. Then Dr. Sawant Sahab, Dr. Abidi, Dr. N.K. Tyagi ji, today he is there with us, Dr. Model ji with us, and then Dr. Sharda, he also had the additional charge of chairman. Dr. Bandopadhyay, Dr. Srivastav, he also held the additional charge of chairman. Dr. Chakravarti ji is with us, Dr. K.K. Singh ji is with us. And in summary, I think now I try to summarize it, that from 1775 to 2014, different activities took place, right from promotion under CAS to ARS in 1976 to technical officers to direct recruitment and lateral entry to AO and FAO to assistant director now and NET examination. So that's how the ASRB is what it is today. And if you see the outcome of ASRB, that we contributed to a total of more than 1,36,603 human capital to National Agricultural Research System since its inception. So this is a very huge quality manpower that ASRB gave to the National Agricultural Research System through 33 ARS examination, appointing various DDGs, ADGs, etc., through career advancement scheme, through ARS inductions, administration and technical positions, and national eligibility tests. So this has been the since inception the contribution of ASRB, and the last 1.5 years we contributed to total of 9,114 human capital, and including various senior scientific positions, career advancement scheme, and so on. So that has been the outcome of ASRB as far as today is concerned. And one slide I wanted to show you, that in this slide now ASRB has a new office, and we have the person who was involved in the laying the foundation stone, Dr. Mahapatra ji, and also when we inaugurated, then Dr. Pathak ji is here. I think it's a very rare opportunity who founded and who inaugurated. Both of them are there today. And then Dr. Mai Sahab mentioned today that this was actually in 2011, one more foundation stone was laid down. So that's a we will try to pick up that slide as well, based on your thing. And we will try to take out that slide as well. Yes. I think then scope has to be expanded. Yes. So this is something very, I think, pleasant thing when founders and inaugurators both are present on the same thing. And this is our new building today. So thank you so much. And this has been the journey of ASRB till to date. And whatever you will suggest today, sir, all of you are sitting here, we'll try to take it forward as per your suggestion further. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय। और अब इस विशेष कार्यक्रम में बारी है वर्ड्स ऑफ विजडम की, यानी कि अपने ज्ञान को थोड़ा सा बढ़ाने की। और इसके लिए अब मैं मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी ASRB के मेंबर डॉक्टर BS द्विवेदी जी को। जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत हो जाए डॉक्टर BS द्विवेदी जी का।
Dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, our distinguished invitees, staff of the ASRB, very good morning to all of you. And I also join our chairperson in welcoming all of you to this 52nd Foundation Day celebration function. Please don't think I am going to give any words of wisdom, because for words of wisdom, these dignitaries are there and they will guide us, who were part of the establishment, part of the continuous nurturing and strengthening ASRB system. So we will listen to them. I will certainly wish to share with you that my stay at ASRB is for past 2 years, and I am really privileged to have an opportunity to serve this great organization. And during these 2 years, actually, I, as a member NRM, had an opportunity to work with 2 chairpersons. One, Dr. Pathak ji, having additional charge of ASRB, and the other regular chairman, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji. During these 2 years, actually, you will all agree, there has been a large number of appointments in ASRB of different grades, because when actually this board, including myself, Dr. Major Singh and Dr. Kimoti Saab joined, that time because of COVID pandemic, and then because board SOPs, and it was things were getting changed to online system, somehow large number of positions in ICR, particularly research management positions and quasi-management level positions, heads, coordinator level positions, were lying vacant. Most of the institutions were having officiating heads, officiating coordinators, officiating ADGs, officiating DDGs, directors of the institutes. So the board has huge responsibility, and with the SOP decided that time, and for that I really wish to thank Dr. Mahapatra Saab also, who was before, Dr. Pathak ji took the additional charge, he was having additional charge. And then he was very particular for, operationalizing the online application and evaluation system, and finalizing the SOP that how board can deliver very fast, which was very much required that time. And then when we get the feedback from peers, it is very positive generally, and so of course some criticisms are also there, but then that is very encouraging, that somehow we could do a better job, which I can, the board can take pride of. And that is because of only 3 things, which in my opinion. One, these stalwarts sitting here who continuously nurtured and strengthened the ASRB. So it is not a one-day job. It is a 50 years journey. How these seniors have laid that foundation, means continuously strengthened, continuously strived for bringing in more transparency, objectivity, becoming more impartial, delivering, a very quality output. So that credit goes to all of those who are sitting here. This is number one, because that provided the environment in which we are working today. The other thing is that cohesiveness of the team. So at any given time, how the board operates, chairman and members. So fortunately, at present, actually, for last 3 years, and that was earlier also, but what I experienced, what I am telling, we are working in a very complete harmony. And if there is any problem, it is immediately resolved. So there are no working level hiccups, and that's how the performance is good. Number 3, support system. Lot of job is there. See, apparently what you are seeing is the board, 3 members and chairman. But under that is the secretariat. And they do huge work actually. And you can imagine when so many positions were filled and the contribution in last 1 year has been displayed by chairman, I will not repeat it. There was a huge work. Board worked on almost all Sundays in year 22, many Sundays in year 23. And this small team never says no. They know how committed they are. So I really have a lot of appreciation for Secretariat, earlier led by Dr. Meherda ji, now by Madam Garima Srivastav ji, and our 2 directors sitting here, Mr. Rajendra ji and Bharadwaj ji. They did a lot of job, and their team, of course. I will only say one more thing. See, many aspirants of higher positions are sitting here. Middle level leaders, directors are there, and heads of divisions are there who are aspiring for research management positions. Board, as I told, strictly follows merit. But merit, connotation of merit changes as you come up in the ladder of the seniority. Your knowledge of the science, scientific contributions, publications, recognitions, all are extremely important and will remain important. That is important. But for management positions, other attributes are also equally important. That is how you take the people together. How you motivate the team, how you own the organization, problem-solving attitude. So this is not a guidance. Words of wisdom will come from the seniors. But then for my younger friends, let us always think that it is for those positions, it is not only scientific achievements, other attributes need to be inculcated, which I think everyone understands. So with this, I will not take much time, and we are, like you, waiting for, real words of wisdom from our seniors. And sir, whatever you guide us today, that will really be very inspiring to us and will help improving our efficiency in the times to come. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर B.S. द्विवेदी। अब मैं यहाँ पर विनम्र निवेदन करना चाहूँगी कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के सदस्य डॉक्टर मेजर सिंह जी से। महोदय, आप सभी के समक्ष 2 शब्द कहें।
Respected dignitaries present on the dais and off the dais, very senior persons present today. It is really a great occasion for us. We are celebrating the Foundation Day of Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board. The journey which took this organization was presented very nicely by my chairman, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji. It was really fascinating to see how this board has progressed and where we have reached. As mentioned by Dr. Dwivedi ji, we are here from last 2 years, and it was privilege for me to work under 3 chairmen. Dr. Mahapatra, when I joined, he was the chairman and DG. Then Dr. Pathak, he was the chairman and DG. And now Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji. So it was really nice to interact with chairmen. And it was Dr. Mahapatra who started and said that we have to expedite the recruitment process by simplifying the board. And really, it's served a lot. And it took 2 years for us to complete the all pending work. And ASRB has completed all pending recruitments which were pending in ICR. Now we are in normal mode. So normal recruitment will take place As mentioned by Dr. Dwivedi, it was the Herculean job by our staff members, particularly director, secretary, and controller of examinations, and all staff working with them. Because in the recruitment process, a single mistake can lead disastrous. You cannot make a single mistake. Because you see, last 2 years, there were a lot of hue and cry, NEET exam, all exams. But fortunately, we are safe. There is no such case in ASRB. And it is due to rigorous work done by our staff, controller of examination, directors, secretary. They have tried their best that nothing is left which is not being addressed. It is a rare occasion. We have all stalwarts, previous DGs, chairmen on a single platform. Sir, your presence today is really, it is encouraging for us. And we have tried our level best to maintain the values and standards set by you, all of you. And we would like to listen your blessings and your advice to improve it further. Thank you very much, sir.
धन्यवाद डॉक्टर मेजर सिंह जी। अब हम मंच पर यहाँ पर बुलाना चाहेंगे ASRB के सदस्य डॉक्टर SP के मोठी जी को। महोदय, आप मंच पर आएं और सभी के समक्ष अपने विचार प्रस्तुत करें।
Thank you, Aditi. Honorable dignitaries on the dais, you see so many dignitaries and who have guided the course of development and evolution of the ICAR and as well as the ASRB. Over the years, we have so many seniors over here, so we'll be learning a lot from them. So they are there to guide us, as mentioned by our the Honorable Chair, as well as my preceding speakers, my fellow members. So they are all there to guide us, and we would be listening to them and being benefited with their wisdom, and they would all be guiding us. We will be using that in our course of action. As mentioned by my previous speakers, I've been there for almost 2.5 years, in which I have also worked under 3 distinguished chairpersons, Professor Mahapatra. So I have, in fact, as ADG, I served for about 8 years, and I had the privilege and honor of working with almost everybody. They were the honorable chairs of the award committees, and several other fora we used to meet, and I had a little bit glimpse of all of them and their vision for the ICR and the ASRB, and they have all great scholars, and they have a repository of wisdom which they would be sharing with us. So Professor Mahapatra, when he joined he was DG as well as the chair, and his aptitude for details. He looks at everything with great detail. He goes into almost to the bottom of the issue, and then discusses every problem. This may arise, this kind of problem may arise, and we had to tackle this problem like this. So this is the kind of detailing which was required for that period, because the board was reformed, reconstituted board, 4-member board was there, and we had a lot of backlog of vacancies, and they had to be speedily filled. Then that SOP and the online details, they had to be worked to the perfection what it did. So that was in fact the Himalayan contribution, I would say, to which gave a firm footing to the ASRB at that stage. And then came Dr. Pathak, who had, I think the board did a wonderful job. We used to sit for maybe 2-3 boards every day, and used to, around a year's time, when he was twinning as the DG and the chairman also, so he did wonderful job and recruited maybe several RMP positions and other positions. And that was one of the golden periods. And then came our the chair, Dr. Sanjay Singh, who has also looks at every detail, and he is a perfectionist, I must say. And he likes to look at all the problem. He discusses threadbare all the issues and looks at those details very critically. So these are the things that's why we are able to do the type of work, so which is being recognized everywhere, that ASRB is doing good. And as he showed in presentation, that ASRB during last 51 years has recruited more than 136,000 people. They're not all recruited, maybe including the net and all that, but there's a huge number. During last 1.5 years alone, we have been able to do more than 9,100 people. So this is, in fact, a enormous work load, which is a teamwork, which we have been doing as a team, the 4 members together with the secretariat and the directorates, and they have all done wonderful job of it, and we look forward to hearing or listening the words of wisdom from our august panel of experts over here, who are there to guide us, and those we would be utilizing. So only a couple of issues which we think maybe if we can get the words of wisdom on those, so may help us. So then a couple of issues which probably I would like to bring in here is that one issue is that perhaps for senior positions like HODs or principal scientists, the lateral movement of scientists is not happening to the extent that we would like. So people do not want to shift. So there's somehow a redundancy kind of thing as set up, set in, which is not allowing them to move. And that's why we are not getting that kind of competition which is necessary for holding such high positions of HODs. For directors, it's a different issue, but not for HODs or maybe principal scientists. So that is one issue. Perhaps some mode of incentivization, as the Honorable Chair was earlier saying, that perhaps maybe some additional increments, something lucrative needs to be brought in there, so as to attract them. And the other thing which is bothering the board is that for lateral entry positions, the person's talent from outside is not coming to the extent which we would like to bring in. So that is another issue wherein we would like the honorable speakers, subsequent speakers, and because there's maybe around, if I'm not wrong, there's 1,000 years of experience sitting over here. So that would guide us, and we would definitely be benefited. And if we can get hear to their wisdom, and then perhaps the board would again be working on those, and we would definitely be benefited by your honorable presence over here. And this is the day to rejoice and also recall remember the experiences and the contributions of our stalwarts. And they are there. And besides them, there are others the Honorable Chair has already spoken about. I will not speak much. And with this, I would end here, and again wish that perhaps we get a lot of things to hear from you. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर एस.पी. किमोठी। और अब वक्त हमारे अतिथिगणों के अनुभवों से सीखने का, उन्हें सुनने का। और इसके लिए अब मैं आग्रह करना चाहूँगी हमारे अतिथिगण डॉक्टर के सिंह जी का, जो फॉर्मर मेंबर रहे हैं ASRB के। महोदय, आप सभी के समक्ष अपने विचार प्रस्तुत करें।
Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Chief Guest Dr. Shekhar C. Monde ji, Guest of Honor Dr. Himanshu Pathak ji, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, Chairman ASRB, all other stalwarts sitting on the dais and off the dais. Many DDGs, ADGs, and officers are sitting here. So it is both an honor and privilege for me to stand before you to share my experiences, my views before you. At the outset, I would like to congratulate all the employees of ASRB, chairman, members, secretary, directors, deputy secretaries, and all employees of ASRB on the Foundation Day, 52nd Foundation Day. And happy Foundation Day to all the ASRB employees. And I would also like to congratulate all ASRB employees for having shifted in a new building. After a long time, ASRB has found a place, independent place for sitting and for working. And there was also provision of independent staff positions. I do not know whether it has been possible by now or not. So ASRB is now independent body. Foundation Day is very important occasion for any organization, any institution. It is like a birthday of we celebrate for ourselves. So on this day, we generally talk of achievements, accomplishments of the organization, institution. And Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji has very well described in detail about accomplishments, achievements of the ASRB since its inception. Many of ASRB has been playing a great role in selecting, in talent search and selecting outstanding scientists at different levels, research management positions. And many of us have faced ASRB several times, and some of my selectors are sitting here, like Dr. Mai sir, Dr. Gurbachan Singh, and Dr. Tyagi sir. So we used to face ASRB on different occasions. And one good thing is that ASRB keeps on updating and making reforms time to time. And one of the major reforms has been described by Dr. Sanjay Singh ji, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji. Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji mentioned about introduction of scorecard system in ASRB. It was done in 2002, and that has brought more objectivity, accuracy, and transparency in the system. And due to scorecard system, we have observed that there are many scientists, talented scientists, performers have found research management positions at early age. ASRB kept on updating scorecard system time to time. By this time, I guess, might have updated 6-7 times scorecard system. So this is one good system. And later on, this was computerized during the year 2021-22. And when I joined ASRB, I observed that it used to take several days for screening of one position. I remember there was a position of ADG in Education Division. 129 applications were there. And it took 7 days in screening the applications. So efficiency was too low. So computerization has eased the operation, has increased the efficiency. ASRB also conducts technical officers, AOs exams, and career advancement of the scientists, and has played a great role. And restructuring of ASRB was done during 2018, and now it is an independent body. I do not know how useful it is, time will tell. Sir, if you permit, I would like to make some suggestions. Like feedback system, suggestion system is very important for any organization for the improvement. And if you conduct workshops at different locations for inviting suggestions, for getting feedbacks from the universities, from ICR institutions, from the peers, from the stakeholders, that may be useful to improve the system. And it will also create awareness among the masses, among the stakeholders, and it will be easier for you to find the experts from the universities if you conduct the workshop at different locations. Then reforms in quality of question papers at entry level. Many times I observed that in one discipline, many people clear NET examinations, but in other discipline, only few people clear the examination. And this is due to paper setting, quality of paper setting. So either you follow percentile system for giving qualifying, for qualifying, deciding qualifying marks, or quality of paper setting should be improved. Then attracting NRIs in the system. You mentioned that earlier there were 3 centers abroad, one in London, Washington DC, and Moscow. I do not know why that was closed. Might have been region, might not have been good response, so might have been closed. But it is still required to attract talents from outside, NRIs. Many people go abroad for higher studies, and they intend to come back to the system. But we do not have any mechanism to bring them here. So some systems should be developed, formulated, so that they come here. And it is the same thing is at senior levels, like senior scientists, principal scientist levels. Middle level scientists are working abroad, they may come back. But our scorecard system does not allow them. They do not fit in our scorecard system. So some mechanism should be developed so that if somebody wants to come back, talented scientist wants to come back to India, they can come back. Then digitization of scorecard for screening of career advancement is also required. Many times that creates error, and something should be done for that also. Then for directors and DDG positions, leadership quality is very important. I have observed that there are good scientists, but they are not good leaders. Once they join as a director, it is not necessary that they will be successful. So leaders, how to identify good leaders for directors and DDG position, that is important. Some mechanisms should be developed. We tried, but I do not know how much successful that is. We started inviting experts from administration, some IS people, secretaries, and like that. But they also started asking questions, technical questions from the candidates. So some systems should, I do not know, psychologist is required. So some systems should be developed. And also, if possible, 360-degree evaluation like it is done in the case of bureaucrats. That may also be, some weightage should be given for that also. But though it is time-taking, but some system may be developed. Then I have observed that technology, product, process, if somebody has developed a technology, technology has not been commercialized at large scale. There is limited commercialization. Or even without commercialization also, he gets, suppose 4 marks is there, he gets 4 marks. And if somebody has developed a technology which has large scale commercialization occupying 20-30% area in the country for a crop, he also gets same marks, 4 marks. So some systems should be developed that if somebody has developed very good technology, he should get more marks. Then more clarity is required in determining educational qualification and experiences. जब मैं ज्वाइन किया था ASRB, तब से मैं एक कंट्रोवर्सी चली आ रही है एजुकेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन के को लेकर के, कोर्ट केसेज, रिप्रेजेंटेशंस, कंप्लेंट्स, कुछ सिस्टम ऐसा डेवलप करें जिससे कि वो एक ऑप्टिमाइज हो जाए डिटरमिन क्वालिफिकेशन एक्सपीरियंसेस, और इसके जो कंट्रोवर्सी इशूज हैं वो काफ़ी कम हो जाएं. इसमें भी काम करने की ज़रूरत. दीज आर सम ऑफ माई सजेशंस आई वांटेड टू कीप हियर बिफोर यू. And in closing, I would like to express my gratitude for inviting me to be here and to express my views. And I wish all the best. Thank you very much.
अपने विचारों और सुझावों के लिए हम सभी आपके बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर के सिंह जी. इसी के साथ अब हम फॉर्मर मेंबर ASRB डॉक्टर PK चक्रवर्ती जी से अनुरोध करना चाहेंगे, महोदय आप सभी से 2 शब्द कहें. जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं डॉक्टर PK चक्रवर्ती जी के लिए.
Good afternoon, friends, dignitaries on the dais, former and present DGs, former and present chairman of ASRB, former and present members, and this is in fact a historic day for ASRB, as our chairman sir has already told, that this is one of the unique system which I have seen in the country, or maybe I don't know where. In foreign countries, there are different forms by which they are selecting. So in their cases, any scientist or candidate who is going to be selected, he is sent across all the stations of the universities, and then in few of the selected center, he has to give his presentation and what he is going to do, what has been done, and so in different departments. So that thing will be very difficult because it's a long drawn process. It's a long drawn and followed by an interview. So this is a very difficult thing which we can do here in our case, because I must congratulate the present board that so many positions have been filled very fast, and that was needed also at the time, because none of the institutions which are headless, or if any RMP is not there in a position, things go with the momentum which is already there, carried out in the system. But then progress in real sense, it doesn't happen. It is highly nostalgic for me for being associated with the journey of ICR and ASRB. And I joined ASRB, there we were the first to appear in the interviews in the this ASRB Bhavan. That was in 1985 only it was started for the first time. So there, and we had great stalwarts there. In my committee, Dr. S.P. Rai Chaudhary was the chairman of ASRB, and then Dr. C.D. Mai may not be remembering, he was one of the experts. Dr. R.S. Singh was another expert, and Dr. R.K. Agrawala, the head of Horticulture Institutes, he was also there. So these kind of things we have already faced, that it was a very difficult thing, and their style of questioning, their style of getting a feedback from a person was unique. So definitely these are changing over the time, and human mind is never satisfied, and every time a new committee comes, there has been some changes for betterment, and this is a unique thing which has happened in the board. And but the human mind, as I said, is never satiated with this kind of. The next committee and the present committee must be making some changes which the previous committee didn't have. But then again, not everybody gets satisfied with the kind of scoring and scorecards and interviews. It has long been morphosized. It has gone. Right at Dr. Mai's time, I remember that I think more marks was for the interviews and less. So, and then reverse also happened. So, in no way everybody was satisfied, and that is one of the very big challenging job, but then it is also a kind of thankless job, because out of 20 people or 12 people who will be applying, one, except one, everybody will be telling, because it's a good thing that everybody thinks that they are of the same, at the same phase or same eminence, but then only one gets, and then other gets all the criticism. So this is there, but then it has to go. I used to tell that if I have 3 brothers who are applying, so I have to select one of them, because there is a one position. So that doesn't mean that one of the brothers whom I am choosing is very dear to me or very closer to me. So definitely those things are being taken care of, I think. During the time, I learnt a lot from ASRB. ASRB is an organization, in fact. I have seen lots of things are discussed, and it's a great place of learning. And I can say that ASRB system is better than even UPSC system. I have happened to go there for interviews. And also in CSIR, so I was the member of the committee. Recently, they also wanted to make some kind of changes. It was because all are amazed to see the tough competition and tough competitive and transparent way these selections are being made. Like I was, and as I said, that ASRB is it's a very great place of learning. That I came to know initially again because I had a very close relations and long relations with Dr. C.D. Mai, right from when he was director of the, and then first selection was also made by him. He didn't remember me, but then altogether thereafter he was there, and he said, he was telling that he was giving me an instance where he said, I don't know whether, sir, you remember, that one day suddenly he was, when he was a chairman of ASRB, so he said suddenly he got a call, and he and Madam Mai was, they are going to a temple, I think in a hilly region or some place. Suddenly he received a phone call from Sharad Pawarji. That time he was the agriculture minister, and then he and Sharad Pawarji told Dr. Mai, I want a one-page note, because he was going to inaugurate some biotechnology center or something in some of the places, some of the university. And he said, I want one-page write-up. So Dr. Mai, so he had learned biotechnology. When I asked, how did you know? He said, I learned from the candidates. With the interviews which had happened, and through interaction, I came to know. And he can now tell anything about those gene silencing or genome editing or anything, although he might not have done earlier. So this is a great place of learning, I know, and all of it is, we are very blessed for that. And by this way, my selection was done by the former DG. He was the chairman of, he was the secretary there and DG ICR, and in his presence, secretary DSC was also there. He said, you are a plant protection person. How will you manage this section of crop science, which has 18 different subjects? But the same thing happened, what Dr. Mai said. So I learned from all of them, all the candidates, because 18 subjects I used to see. And I used to read also for different others, because in our time, all the 3 members used to be there. So if animal scientists or fisheries people they are coming. So they all were there, and then that way I could learn many things. And so subsequently, I am again proud that during 2018, when the new rules came in, when the ICR, this ASRB was detached from ICR and and they are attached directly to the ministry. We were the proud members and chairmen who are sitting here, that we were the first in that committee. And of course, Secretary Dare and DG ICR was there in that. With their guidance we were doing, and it was a very amicable kind of team. And our purpose used to be only selecting the persons, ignoring many people who are very close to us, but then we never came in between, we never saw those things. We went by the same rigidly following all the guidelines. And a few changes, or which I would like to, most of them I have already been told by Dr. K.K. Singh, not changes. I just want that, this also he covered, I believe, the foreign candidates, we had a meeting with one of the candidates for Cotton Research Institute from who was abroad. And then, but then not many, I think I remember that is the only one where we interviewed a scientist, Indian scientist from who was there in the US. So that was the only thing, but I think we should make it a policy that foreigners of Indian origin, which or who are there, who are ready to come back or interested to come back, or they may not be coming back also, but then for 5 years they are there, let them give their wisdom, all wisdom, and this may be considered seriously, because then only what in any subject we are today, maybe those who have exposure outside, they will be having 3 to 5 years ahead of us nowadays. So in that case, so we should be having those kind of people also interviewed into the system. Reservation for specialization, I thought, was important. A person, if he is working on citrus for a long time, some kind of, he may be better than he will be knowing the system and of the citrus. I think that a small marks can be allocated for the specialization also, which is very important. ACR, all the ACRs of a candidate should be excellent. I think that is still there. I think there we have to think something more, because sometime if there is a director and if the scientist is there, both of them may be having different kind of opinion, and both are maybe right on their side. But then directors, this is nature also, and the director may be giving excellent to one, not very excellent to the other. So, but that will make him demotivated, and those kind of things should also be seen. Maybe it can be graded, like earlier we used to do 4, 3, 2, whatever was there. So all these things should also be included. And one thing is very important in our times, because it was the first time we had been doing in a new system. I would request all the DDGs, when they send for the advertisement, they should be very particular. They should be very particular about what is needed, because at that time our chairman and my colleague, he will be knowing that there are certain very big flaws which were just ignored. What happened was, if somebody there was a for one of the department, it was there that any scientist who is very good, from ASR, this ARS system or ICR system, whatever, or university system, who is specialized or who has done research on horticultural crops, say horticultural crops. So they can be, they can apply. So a person who was doing research in one of the horticultural institute, one was a pathologist, one was an entomologist, and one was doing on wheat pathology, another was doing on fruit pathology. Fruit pathology became eligible, but the wheat pathologist was, he was not allowed to appear. So those kind of things, because this is a very important thing that DDGs, because sometimes ADGs and all other, they should sit together and decide what should be. So there should be some kind of confusion should not be there, and that is that should be noted. So these are the few points which came to my mind, and I shared with you. Thank you for providing me this opportunity. And but then ASRB has done wonderful. We have all very eminent and stalwart scientists sitting in front of us who have been chosen by ASRB. With this, I'm very grateful to you, all of you. Thank you.
धन्यवाद महोदय, अपने अनुभव हम सभी के साथ साझा करने के लिए। और अब हम आग्रह करना चाहेंगे कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के पूर्व सदस्य डॉक्टर एमजे मोडाइल जी से। महोदय, आप सभी से 2 शब्द कहें, अपने विचार सभी के साथ साझा करें।
Chief guest Dr. Shekhar Mandeji, guest of honor Dr. Himanshu Pathak ji, Chairman ASRB Dr. Sanjay Kumar, members of ASRB, former DGs of ICAR, former chairman and members of ASRB, distinguished guests, ICAR Parivar, देवियों एवं सज्जनों, नमस्कार। कृषि विज्ञान चयन मंडल का 52वां स्थापना दिन में ASRB परिवार एवं आप सभी को मेरा बधाई एवं हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं। Organizations are like trees. They all are different. But they all are trees. They stand silently, grow silently, and yield results in the form of fruits and contribute to development, leading to benefits to society. In the past 52 years, ASRB has grown in structure, functions, and earned the reputation as an honest and truthful organization, contributing to agriculture, scientist selection, and cadre growth. I offer my respects and regards to all those leaders, the former DGs, chairmen, members, and officers who have strived hard to architect and nurture this organization. 5 decades of growth is certainly an occasion to celebrate, and my humble congratulations and regards to all those stalwarts. I had the privilege to serve ASRB for 5 years, from 2007 to 2012. During this period, I had the opportunity to make 2 humble contributions. The then DG, Dr. Mangalarai, visited ASRB and explained the difficulty in conducting the recruitment of our 300 existing vacancies of assistants in ICAR. The aspirants were over a few lakhs, and the normal process of scrutiny and shortlisting would take, according to him, over 3 years. The staff selection board and UPSC did not accede to the request of ICAR to take up the recruitment. As a special case, the chairman, Dr. Mai, agreed to undertake this job, and I was given this difficult task. I spent a few weeks interacting with the major online examination agencies in India and understood the weak linkages which were responsible for the failures. I changed the normal process by breaking it into two modules. The first module was an All India online test to eliminate the less meritorious candidates through an objective online examination. And the second module was a pen and paper test in selected centers in India through highly secure, pilfer-proof, bilingual question-answer booklet. This resulted in shortlisting the aspirants who were invited to ASRB to take part in a live institute-wise allocation process, which was free and fair, open and transparent, giving aspirants to choose the institutes depending on their merit standing in the live availability of positions. The second more difficult task was assigned to me was aimed at conceptualizing, designing, establishing, and commissioning an online examination system for the entry-level selection of AR scientists. The DG ICR, Dr. Mangalarai, made it possible through a grant to me as principal investigator on a project mode from the World Bank for over an initial rupees 32 crores. I could establish a data center at ASRB and 23 online examination centers across India, including the remote Andamans, provide the required furniture, peripherals, servers, standby power units, connectivity for trouble-free, offline, online, offline examination process. I visited most of these examination centers and ensured proper security and surveillance. There was inordinate delay in the tender process, and unfortunately, before I could do a dry run, my time in office ended. But I handed over the blue book with all protocols to the then chairman, Dr. Gurbachan Singh. I understand that the ASRB now conducts these ARS prelim bar net examinations at its own 23 centers with 2020 computers installed at 21 ICR institutes and 2 state agricultural universities across the country. The examination is conducted bilingually, and the candidates have a choice to write either in English or Hindi. I understand that the system has been functioning ever since, making the ARS recruitment process transparent, fast, pilfer-proof, and efficient. This was the first government-owned online examination system in the country. I am happy that I could be an agent of change in the ARS selection process. Now, coming back to the present, permit me to take a few minutes to flag certain points which deserve the attention and intervention of ASRB and DARE. As you know, a review committee headed by Padma Bhushan Dr. Raj Paroda on functioning and revamping of the ASRB submitted to ICR a report in 2018. It made 48 recommendations as a package to be implemented. While some of these recommendations were accepted and implemented, a few major and impacting recommendations were grossly subjected to bureaucratic meddling and or neglected. Today, I am requesting the ASRB and the DARE to recall the full report by Dr. Paroda and re-examine and implement the following, which are essential for retaining the value and dignity of this organization. It was recommended that ASRB be made a statutory body like the Union Public Service Commission, UPSC, through an act of the Parliament. The number of ASRB board members be increased to 4 as against existing 3, and the senior-most member should automatically become the chairman of the board. This would ensure that the chair goes by rotation to different disciplines, and also there is no discontinuity at any time for the functioning of the board due to the retirement of the sitting chairman. The chairman and members all should be in the rank of Secretary to the Government of India, appointed only for one term of 5 years, with no scope for extension, but with the upper age limit tenure of being increased to 70 years. The rationale for secretary level status for the board is because the board selects directors of deemed universities which with a certain pay band. The board members should be in a pay band higher than that as per the DOPT guidelines. ASRB's responsibility should remain confined only to the selection of and assessment process concerning the scientist, and for the senior and also for the senior technical positions of T6 and above. ICR should take over the responsibility for the recruitment of all administrative and financial positions in the council. Recruitment to all junior level administrative and technical positions should be decentralized by the ICR at the institute level as existed before. Certain additional purse allowances on the lines of those permissible to the members of UPSC be extended to the chairman and members of ASRB. For the required efficient functioning, secrecy and accountability, it is necessary that ASRB has its own cadre of administrative staff. The committee strongly recommended that there should be an independent secretariat staff of ASRB under the control of the chairman ASRB as the disciplinary authority and cadre authority, and be delinked from ICR. The ICR rules and bylaws relevant to ASRB, that is rule number 26 and 73 and bylaws 24 and 28, will have to be revisited and adopted to make ASRB fully autonomous, and accordingly separate rules and bylaws for ASRB are to be enacted. The process of recruitment for RMBs be made more rigorous by adopting a two-tier system of selection. ASRB should try to avoid inviting the same expert more than twice in a year, both for screening and for applications as well as interview, unless it is unavoidable due to certain emergency such as non-availability of the expert in the 11th hour. In addition to these recommendations of Dr. Paroda Committee, I have two suggestions to ASRB to revise the honorarium which is paid to the experts invited to the board for screening and interviews. ASRB had formed a committee under former member Dr. S.H. Abidi to examine this issue, and it was recommended that this should be made at par with UPSC, which at that time was rupees 300 per sitting with a maximum of rupees 5,000 per day, irrespective of number of sittings per day. The then existing rate in ASRB was rupees 1,000 per sitting. For reasons not known, these recommendations were dumped by ICR. So I suggest that ASRB should be now willing to pay an honorarium at par with that paid currently by UPSC for experts. Why I am mentioning this? In my home state, a skilled labor earns rupees 1,200 to 1,400 per day, and an unskilled labor earns rupees 800 per day. Therefore, expertise should be respected and valued, and a dignified honorarium be paid to experts which will increase the value of this organization. I also suggest that the interviewing process may be reviewed and refined to eliminate the knowledge testing questions which are common from the experts and introduce ways and means to test the right fit for the candidate for the job defined. The ASRB had prepared an interviewer's manual, and I suggest that ASRB may kindly revisit this manual to make the interviews more meaningful. ASRB logo also requires change to reflect the true aspirations of the organization. National Institute of Design may be approached to design a logo reflecting the spirit of the organization. I am confident that with the implementation of all the recommendations of the Paroda Committee, ASRB can and will regain its status and stature and will be able to function as an independent organization catering to the needs of agriculture scientists, service aspirations in the country. I thank the Chairman, ASRB, for inviting me to this meeting. My best wishes to ASRB Parivar for contributing its best efforts for upholding the values of this prestigious organization to cherish in its journey through time. Dhanyavad. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mudal. And now I would like to call Dr. N.K. Tyagi, former member ASRB. Sir, kindly come on stage and share your valuable thoughts with us.
Good morning, Honorable Chief Guest of this morning function, our Chief Host, Chairman ASRB, Guest of Honor, Dr. Pathak, and we have a galaxy of previous chairpersons and DGs of the ICAR, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, namaskar. As I stand in this hall on this day, I am reminded of 2005 when we had celebrated the first foundation day of ASRB under the chairmanship of Dr. Mai, and our chief guest was first chairman of ASRB, Dr. M.L. Sahare. This celebration is also linked to another important event about which the current chairman talked, that is a separate house for ASRB. It was in 2008 that on this very occasion, that is Foundation Day in 2008, we formally requested in the open forum that ICAR should provide ASRB a separate house, and to which Dr. Mangala Rai very readily agreed. It took some 3 more years, and we got this plot, which Dr. Mai got a foundation stake laid in July. I remember the money for development of the site was sanctioned in March 31st, 2011. So I'm very happy that at least now, after 50 years, the ICR has given us a separate home, for which we are grateful. Gentlemen, when I entered the board on 13th June 2005, I had made commitment to my search committee headed by Dr. Mashelkar that no matter from whichever quarter any pressure came, I will not yield and do justice to all and favor to none. I also promised that I will maintain a adequate distance from the candidates who are recruited. Maintaining this commitment, addressing to this commitment that I have made had put me in some difficulties at some times, but I am happy that during the 6 years that I was in that position, whenever I was present, I did not yield to any pressure, and selections were fair. When I joined ASRB, the first assignment, other than recruiting, that time Dr. Modial had not joined, so I had responsibility for NRM, fisheries, animal husbandry. And I found that these two disciplines, which were not directly in NRM, they were fairly well developed. So my first responsibility was to redesign this scorecard, for which the committee was constituted. Our current chairman mentioned about that. And we co-opted Dr. Modial. He was that time director of Fisheries Institute and Cochin. This scorecard has been revised and revised and revised, and now it has come to a stage of hair splitting. It has been criticized, it has been admired, it has been followed. A lot of people have condemned it, but a better system has so far not been designed. I think the board could consider to what level of hair splitting in our these scorecard we should go. The second assignment that I was given was drafting of this annual report. Ours was the first published annual report in 2006. We not only mentioned about how many people we have recruited and in which category, how many examinations we have conducted, but we did analysis discipline-wise, state-wise, university-wise, to find out how the system is functioning throughout the country. And this analysis was presented to the minister and also to the joint conference of the Director General of the Directors of the ICR Institute and the Vice Chancellors. We used to emphasize which particular discipline is lacking in its performance, which institute, which university is lagging behind. As a matter of fact, this became a serious issue with the Committee on Rajbhasha, where we mentioned that the Hindi-speaking states are lacking in the performance so far as the board is concerned. My third assignment, and this was that we wanted to make a distinct identity for the board. The first logo about which it is still there, in search, ASRB in search of talent. Under the chairmanship of Dr. Mai, a committee was constituted. We floated this idea, and a competition was held. I think we paid some 20,000 or so honorarium for the first website, which was inaugurated by that time by the agriculture minister, was also designed by this board. Our idea was that ASRB is the creation of ICR. Its sole client is also ICR, but it should not be treated as an attached office of the ICR. It should have a distinct identity. To some extent, we succeeded, and there were many things which remains to be done. Well, gentlemen, a galaxy of people are waiting to make their suggestions. Most of the suggestions my valued friend Dr. Modial has already made. I will make only few suggestions. And I have written my memories. There is a full chapter in this book on ASRB. I will leave this with the chairman. I think we have started a small library. If they like, they can keep it in the library for their term. So this I will leave later. My first suggestion is, yes, separation of board from the ICR to some extent was good, but the duration or the tenure of 3 years is too short, because the suggestions which I am going to make will require at least a 5-year duration for the board team. The first is that ASRB has access to voluminous data on the performance subject-wise, region-wise, institute-wise. We started doing small research. As a matter of fact, I developed a proposal for continued research on profiling of the ICR institutes and disciplines across the country. Because we had access to a lot of data, a project was formulated, and in collaboration with NARM, we had 2 meetings. Somehow it did not materialize that time. So my first suggestion is, because we have access to this data and because we have the expertise, I think some sort of a basic research unit which will do the profiling of the research across the country, across the discipline should be done. My second suggestion is that selection and assessment is developing as an independent discipline itself. This we learned when we organized an international conference on recruitment assessment in collaboration with DRDO, RAC. We found that there were very useful outcome will come later from that conference. And one was that recruitment assessment is not a stationary process. We talked of 360-degree evaluation, which is not possible in the current system that we are following. So there is a drastic need, not only to learn how to make recruitments. For example, I, sometime in 1996 or 7, appeared for the post of the Deputy Director General. This expert sitting on the other side puts me a question, what is the difference between soil and land? This is a undergraduate type of questions. So role playing is very important, and I consider the board should be a learning organization. It is not that just to put some questions, how to make the candidate who is sitting on the other side comfortable. You are not trying to repeat him, you are trying to draw a maximum from him to make an assessment. So some sort of activity, some sort of training should be mandatory for whosoever joins in this recruitment assessment process. Otherwise, the 360-degree evaluation that we talk about cannot be done. Then I have mentioned in the beginning, our scorecard is taking care of 60% or 70% of the total marks. There is very little scope left for your judgment when you are selecting, because these marks are added. So what we did under the chairman of Dr. Mai, that the scorecard for the senior positions should be only for eligibility. You can put a higher eligibility limit. We kept some 55 or 50%. You can raise it to 60 or 65, but that is only for the eligibility. The interview board then should have freedom to judge on the their assessment whether this man is good for the director post or the deputy director general post, or we are selecting a national professor. If you are selecting a national professor, then this is a different thing. But when you are selecting for the director or the director general, it is different thing. With these words, I have a long list. This is given in my book. I thank the present board, particularly chairman, for giving me this opportunity, and I wish that the board continues to develop and grow. Thank you.
सभी के लिए एक बार जोरदार तालियां हो जाए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर एन.के. त्यागी। और अब मैं यहाँ पर आग्रह करना चाहूँगी फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ASRB डॉक्टर आदित्य कुमार मिश्रा जी से, महोदय आप सभी का मार्गदर्शन करें अपने विचारों के साथ। जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं एक बार।
Chief guest of today's function, Honorable Shekhar C. Mande ji, former Secretary DSIR and DGCSIR. Guest of honor, Honorable Dr. Himanshu Pathak ji, Secretary DARE and DGICR. Chairman ASRB, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, former Secretary DARE and DGICR, Dr. Punjab Singh ji, Chairman PPVFRA and former Secretary DARE and DG, Dr. Mohapatra ji, former Chairman ASRB, Dr. R.B. Singh ji, Dr. Mai ji, Dr. Gurbachan Singh ji, present members Dr. Kemothi, Dr. Major Singh, Dr. Divedi, former members Dr. Tyagi ji, Dr. Modail ji, members during my time Dr. K.K. Singh ji, Dr. P.K. Chakravarti, pillars of ICR, DDGs, ADGs, directors, Secretary SRB, Mrs. Garima Srivastav ji, other officials, and the staff of ASRB, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to you. There is still some time to 12 noon. First of all, I convey my warm wishes and congratulations to all of you, especially the staff of ASRB, on this 52nd Foundation Day. Indeed, a great milestone in the journey of ASRB. This is the day when we remember those stalwarts who established the institution and also those who gradually strengthened it. I was seeing the presentation of the Chairman ASRB from its inception, when it was a small office in this South Extension, with Dr. Sahare as the member, Dr. Harure as the secretary, and Mr. Nair as the controller of examination, it has moved to its own building. We call it Chain Bhavan. From a recruitment arm of ICR, it has become an independent body. It has contributed immensely, as we all know, that agriculture has progressed tremendously in the last 5 or 6 decades. We mostly see the NAR system as a contributor, but ASRB has been working behind the scene, providing all the manpower, particularly to the ICR. I was asked to share the reminiscences. I'll share a few because the total time is just 10 minutes. There, for all good intentions, restructured ASRB in August 2018 as a body which will be autonomous, it will maintain secrecy, accountability, and work efficiently. I joined this institution in March 2019, and my total tenure was little less than 3 years, because now the tenure is 3 years. We started functioning, but the first thing which we stumbled on was whether this ASRB is a autonomous body or a attached office of Department of Agriculture, Research and Education. In ASRB, everybody was using the logo of Government of India, whereas in the DARE, everybody said, no, you are an autonomous body. But when we read the cabinet note, there was nowhere the mention of autonomous body, and an autonomous body also requires the registration in the Societies Registration Act. You require a governing body, a memorandum of association, and so many other things which were not existing. So first of all, we cleared this. We discussed this with the then Secretary DARE, and this was strengthened. But when the orders came, the first order came about the restructuring of ASRB in August 2018, and the second order that this is a attached body of DARE came in September 2019, after almost 13 months. This was one thing which bothered the restructured ASRB. Second thing which bothered us was this was an autonomous body. And it has to function autonomously. Even the DARE in its order of January 2019 gave very clear guidelines about the role of ICR, ASRB, and the DARE. But strangely, DARE wanted that, all the approvals, whether you make SOP, whether you make selection committee, or you made a screening committee, all approvals are to be required from DARE, which somehow the board did not agree, and it took a couple of months to sort it out. The third problem which we faced during my time was, as we started functioning, there was an outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. right from January, February, because we were calling experts for the purpose of screening, they started refusing, will not be able to come. And ultimately in the March, there was a national lockdown and the whole system was closed. And at that point of time, we were not very sure how long this will continue. Can we sit idle? But that time, our minister, the secretary there, they all took the initiative. We all together decided that we have to switch to the digital mode. And we were also informed that we will not be using the existing system of whether it is a Skype or Google Meet or whatever it is for the purpose of maintaining the secrecy. We have to develop our own system. And I must thank NIC in the next 2.5 months, we succeeded. We developed a system, a video conferencing facility was created in the ASRB. They were at 3 places, and we created the remote centers at 51 ICR institutes. And we started functioning. When everything was locked, including the UPSC, it was the ASRB which started recruitment again. To test our system, first we took the cash cases. We finished, I think, 21 or 22 cases very, very successfully, and then switched on to the recruitment process, which was ongoing. And we selected as many as, I think, about 44 research managers in the next couple of months. So this was, again, a major problem which we faced. Though it worked very well, but sometimes, you also face some problems. We conduct ARS examinations, and strangely, you will be surprised to know that at one center, 2 friends, they were giving examination. The face is covered with the mask, and what they did, both were sitting in 2 different rooms. They went to the bathroom, they changed their shirt. But hats off to the invigilator. I think controller of examination is sitting here. He still caught them. So this was one bad experience, but it was very successfully handled by the staff. During this time, we took some initiatives. To name few, first one was the digitization of the net certificate. Because every time you have to issue large number of net certificates. And if somebody has lost, then the request will come again. So what we did, we digitized and placed it in the DigiLocker. You can download it as and when you want. This was another digitization. During our time, as we were saying, the requirement of our own building, in the month of November 2020, the foundation stone of the existing Chayan Bhavan was laid by the then Agriculture Minister. The other very important work was when we were completing the recruitment process, we were informed that the existing scorecard, which is not 100% objective, is to be made 100% objective. I can share, there were some applicants, they submitted 18, 19, 20 applications against different posts. And they were all evaluated by different committees. If one committee has evaluated and given X marks, when the second committee comes, you can't pass on those marks to the second committee that you give these marks. You can't dictate. So they evaluated independently. Third evaluated independently. And then ultimately, you notice that there is a difference of few marks of the same candidate for different applications. So what we did in association with IASRI, I think our secretary there was also very persuasive that we must digitize application form and make the scorecard completely objective. It took another few months, but I am very happy to share with you that subsequently we advertised 90 positions. That included the 5 DDG positions and the position of other RMPs. And we completed the whole recruitment process right from advertisement till selection within 51 days. So that, there we also made it necessary that even if you are applying for 10 posts or 15 posts, you will submit only one application. Otherwise, ASRB is evaluating same applicant again and again. In one advertisement, you have to submit only one application, and if that application is evaluated, and that will be carried everywhere for every post. I think since the time is short, I will tell you something about perspectives. Chairman was talking about NARS. At the moment, we are recruiting people only for ICAR. During my time, we received several requests from universities that you recruit our professors and assistant professors, associate professors. But since we're having a lot of work ourselves, I did not agree. But I feel this institution can play a very, very big role in the recruitment of manpower of NARS, whole NARS system. People talk about UPSC and all that. I think this institution can become the very best, second to none. Some efforts are to be made. The last point which I would like to make is, when this institution was made autonomous body, at that time the decision was taken that the staff will be of ASRB. ASRB will have entire control. Their appointment and their promotions and everything will be. Now this happened in 2018 and now we are in 2014. I think nothing has moved. I don't know, there must be some constraints. So my suggestion is, if there are serious limitations and this cannot happen, probably we have, ASRB inherited legacy of UPSC. And UPSC is attached to DOPT. One possibility is ASRB can also be attached to DOPT. And whole system should be made completely independent, not only by actions, everybody should be able to see that, yes, it is completely independent. At the end, I would like to thank the chairman, ASRB, and his team for organizing this function and inviting me to share my reminiscences. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aditya Kumar Mishra, for sharing your experiences and suggestions with all of us. Thank you very much. We are very grateful. And now I would like to call Dr. Gurbachan Singh, former chairman, ASRB, to kindly come here and share your views with all of us. Kindly give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much, madam. Good afternoon. Very distinguished people on the dais, honorable chief guest, guest of honor, and all our ex-DG, secretary there, everyone. I think I said use the word as distinguished. To save on time, it's not necessary that every name is given. All the distinguished people in the hall, At the outset, let me thank the Honorable Chairman, ASRB, Dr. Sanjay Kumar ji, for inviting me to this very important function. I think I retired more than 7 years back. This is for the first time I am coming to ASRB. I was anxious to see the building which has come up, and that was all planned during that tenure. So, ladies and gentlemen, few things I will like to share with you. Foundation Day is a very important day for any organization. We are celebrating 52nd Foundation Day of our organization. My congratulations to everyone who contributed since its inception till today. And this is a day where we need to introspect for what purpose this organization was created, the vision of Professor Swaminathan ji, and what was that first document which was prepared, and I think we need to relook to that document on what we built the ASRB and how we moved forward during all these years. Secondly, we need to put on record the contributions of all those people who worked in this organization. Some of them are not with us, the chairman and members. I think this is the time when we need to remember them. So after saying these few points, I will share with you many of the points have been raised by the honorable members. When I joined as a chairman, we made a review. All those points are the same what we discussed at that time. Then planned how these questions can be answered. Mr. Chairman, if you will go to those records, you will find answer to almost every of the points which have been raised by honorable members. Now, first is talent search from outside the system. Very, very important. If we have to build organization, we need to introduce talent. For that, we decided we organized a brainstorming session at National Dairy Research Institute. The report is here. I think that is a kind of document which all of us, most of everybody was present, about 80 people, invited the Vice Chancellor, everybody. And one of the, how we can attract talent. Dr. Eppen was the DG, he was very receptive, let me say, at this, to the point, and we used to sit almost every week on these issues. One thing we decided in the ARS committee, many of applications we received from the senior research fellows, Indian origin fellows working in US, Australia, everywhere, they were interested to come back. Then we thought that let us give a window. We gave a window that any SRF with 8 years of experience in US, any outside country, and have 10 publications with this score, they can apply at the senior scientist level, direct. So we advertised even, I recall that in Science, Nature, the kind of journals, so that people can apply. About 20 people were selected during that time. I think that you also have something done on this. More than 60. Yeah. So why that scheme was again gone away with? Now we are raising again the same question. So that was a very good. The question came, our Agriculture Research Service Association, they came to me. I thought that you are also coming through the examination, does not matter. They have worked, and we took the feedback where those people were appointed. That's how in those institutes, people totally changed because they worked in US or UK they got that exposure. So that may, if you can still think to bring that point back. I'm very happy to see that the building of ASRB is now in place. It was Dr. Mahi's initiative. Dr. Sharad Pawarji, we inaugurated the foundation stone was laid, but then there were some issues in the plan. We cannot make that building. That was very difficult for us, that already stone has been laid and we have to shift. Then lot of time was, but let me again place on record, at that time 2 directors, one of the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources, of NRM, because the land where the building is now existing belongs to them. Lot of things happened. Then even the secretary or said, Dr. Sahab, tusi unna na gal karo. This is I know that all history. Then that the map was prepared, even I think the tender, everything was done. But I am happy that the building is now in place. And again, all thanks to our ICR for that. Now coming to scorecard, I will take 2-3 minutes more. Then we thought, why this scorecard is being changed every year or every 2 years? What is wrong with it? Let me say, there is nothing wrong with the scorecard. When some blue-eyed people don't get the interview, I am very, very frank in this, and they have the connections up at above, they will try to, the only point remains that you raise the issue of scorecard so that the interviews will be postponed. Let us take it. Then we thought, Dr. Apple said, we constituted a committee, let this scorecard should not change. You know the credible people who prepared the score? Dr. S.L. Mehta, Dr. M.L. Madan, then 2 more, Dr. Anupam Verma, 4th, another our Dr. Katyal, and Dr. Bandyopadhyay coordinated. So nicely that scorecard was, everything was considered, discussed with the DDGs, ADGs, directors, even in the institute, that scorecard was implemented. But again, that scorecard after 2-3 years, again, the only thing is this scorecard is used when somebody does not get an interview, he has some connections, the only option left with the system is to blame the scorecard, that we need to blame. So otherwise scorecard, Dr. Pathak, this is very, whatever scorecard we are doing, let us write clearly, it will at least implement for 5 years. If, very good, I am so happy. No, these are the small problems, but derail our system. Okay, then one thing which was, if you take the history of ASRB, when DG and Chairman ASRB are on the same track, the things go very smoothly. So, I'm very, very frank in this case. Sometimes the issue, nobody can touch us from outside if our system supports our other system. So one complaint will come and everything will be put to kind of a question and the credibility comes down. Then we decided, I don't know, Dr. Pathak, every, I think 3 months, DG, Secretary ICR, Chairman ASRB and our members, we used to meet in 3 months. What are the issues? We sat on the table and decided at the site. You know, 2 meetings went very well. Proceedings were issued. It became a very, I was so happy that it has become the so transparent system. I don't know what happened. Then those meetings were discontinued, no proceeding. So I'm telling you the practical, because we are raising all these issues. Then we have one thing which was Dr. Swaminathan's dream. When we called Professor Swaminathan, when I joined on the first foundation day, he said that that 4 years rural training for the scientists, rural exposure after ARS, that was discontinued. Then he gave the suggestion that why don't we go for attachment of scientists with the innovative farmers. That's a very, many of the scientists you will see, some come from the basic sciences, so that if we can still think, now we have the list of the country who are the innovator, they are as good as scientists. If we can 2 months, 3 months, they can, that part we can think. Similarly, another thing was that if we see how green revolution came, all those people at that time who had the exposure in USA under the project, all those at that time, they had a different kind of vision for the research. We tried it also in our ARS committee meetings, all these, what I am talking. If we can think of after making recruitment of ARS scientists, according to their thesis, their interest, if we can have some program in a phased manner, attaching them to the best laboratories in the world. If somebody is working in biotechnology and we have 200 scientists selected, 10 wants to go to for biotechnology, send them for few months. A scheme can be worked out. That could be very, very valuable thing. Friends, these are some of the issues, but only thing I will say, we should be true to the job. We should be very transparent. If we have to, and then the system never fails. I think that I'm seeing that Pathak, you are doing a very good job when you filled all the posts, and now ASRB chairman, and you are also working in very close association. No system is perfect. We need to go on improving it. But my only submission is how many inquiries we have conducted. Sanjay Kumar ji, just see, nothing came out about anything, and I must say ASRB is a model institute for the all other recruitment organizations. So many people went to the court, never we lost the case. Any inquiry never came to that something wrong has. That may be mistake can happen anywhere. So one thing last, a point was raised, which I was very much in favor. When we do assessment, some candidates out of 100 get out of 100 or 98. The other candidates, if he got 73, because 75 is the benchmark, by some kind of, with the recommendations of the member, you give 1 or 2 marks, they also get promoted. Why not we have some system who are getting above 95, so that if they are junior in the cadre, they should get some advantage, they can lead our research system. That part of this is very, very important. I don't know why we tried it, but it never matured. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm so happy. And again, my congratulations to everyone, because this we belong to a great organization. Thank you so much.
धन्यवाद महोदय। अब हम आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ASRB डॉक्टर CD माई जी को। महोदय, आप समक्ष रखें सभी के सामने अपने विचार।
मैं 5 मिनट के ऊपर आपका समय लूँगा नहीं, क्योंकि मुझे लग रहा है कि आप इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं हमारा। हम यहाँ बैठे और आप अभी इंटरव्यू ले रहे हैं, तो सजेशंस तो इतने ज़्यादा हो गए, तो मुझे लगता है कि चेयरमैन साहब जितना एब्सॉर्ब कर पाएंगे आप कोशिश करिए। लेकिन मैं जो आप बताने जा रहा हूँ, दीज आर सम ऑफ द हैजार्ड्स ऑफ सिलेक्शन। मैंने ज्वाइन करते ही एक एनिमल साइंस के डायरेक्टर का इंटरव्यू लेके उसको सिलेक्ट किया, एंड आई एम कमिंग फ्रॉम यूनिवर्सिटी, तो मुझे कैंडिडेट्स का ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं थी बैकग्राउंड के, एंटीडिसेंट्स दे आर नॉट नोन। तो वो डायरेक्टर को सिलेक्ट करने के बाद ऑल साइंटिस्ट दे वर वेटिंग फॉर चेयरमैन कि कौन है ये कि जिसने इसको लाया है यहाँ। दिस इज वन बिग डेंजर दैट इफ यू सिलेक्ट अ रॉन्ग पर्सन, देर आर चांसेस दैट योर चेयरमैन विल बी सम टाइम इन ए सूप. So we have to be very careful about it. Second thing is, in all these almost 6.5 years I was chairman, there was not a single recommendation I received, either for a politician. But there was a non-recommendation. एक आदमी ने मिनिस्टर के ऊपर प्रेशर लाया. For first time in the history of ICR, a circular was issued that he is bringing pressure, so he should not be called for interview. I think that kind of integrity we need to have. और एक हमारे ASRB में फोन आया एक लेडी का कि प्लीज डू नॉट सिलेक्ट माय हस्बैंड, ही इज अपीयरिंग फॉर एन इंटरव्यू, क्योंकि इसने मेरा फैमिली बर्बाद कर दिया है, आपकी इंस्टीट्यूट बर्बाद हो जाएगी. तो मेरा ये कहना कि ऐसे एक्सपीरियंस हमारे सिलेक्शन में काफ़ी आते हैं और आपको काफ़ी सजेशन दिए गए हैं. टैलेंट सर्च में आई थिंक ASRB हैज़ डन लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च. हमारे डॉक्टर त्यागी साहब ने बताया है, वी नीड लॉट ऑफ now what is needed for you probably is a more talent hunt, because now a time has come that you need to really find out people who can come to the system, and that I will call it as a talent hunt. System हम सोच रहे थे कि इसको कैसे डेवलप करना है. Unfortunately, time was not much where we could do. The other thing is that there are ये जो आपका 70-30 है, I have never agreed with this, because what you are happening is, I have attended one interview, that time it was 70-30, I was not knowing, and myself as an expert was not knowing that who is selected, because the marks were added later and somebody told us, and a very wrong person is selected. I think this should not happen. That's why हमारे त्यागी साहब ने जो कहा है कि basically you have to think in terms of, can you have the same 70-30 for a DDG, and can you have the same thing for a senior scientist? No, it cannot run. So you have to change. We tried that 60-40, 40-60, 50-50 for different cadres, and it worked. But when we'll have to actually think of that. And when our first foundation day हमने UPSC chairman को बुलाया था, Mr. Agrawal, he said, जब उनको हमारा discussion हुआ था, he said, how can you really unequate people when they are appearing for interview? Already you are unequating them. They should be equal when they come for interview. That means your biodata or thing should be only used for shortlisting. I think that was the suggestion. Maybe आप इसके ऊपर सोच सकते हैं. And third thing is, which I thought of telling, I think Gurbachan Singh has already said, I have been attending some of the interviews of DRDO. One of the fantastic system for promotions of DRDO. I think we need to study them. जैसे इन्होंने बताया कि एक कैंडिडेट को 90 मार्क्स मिलते हैं, तो उसको आप 4 साल में प्रमोशन दे दो. If he is getting 80, you give him 5 साल में. If he is getting 70, उसको 6 साल में करिए. But then there should be some kind of a distinction. I think that promotion policy is followed by DRDO. तो वो भी आप कर सकते हैं. तो आज का जो फाउंडेशन डे है फ्रेंड्स, ये बहुत आप लोग इतने सीरियस ज़्यादा हुए कि मुझे लगा कि ये फाउंडेशन डे नहीं है. एंजॉय, काइंडली गिव बिग हैंड टू आवर चेयरमैन हु हैज ऑर्गेनाइज्ड दिस, एंड विद ऑल दीज फ्यू सजेशंस I would like to really thank you very much for this honor given to me for coming here in this function.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय. और इसी के साथ हम भी जल्दी से बढ़ते हैं आगे और अब मंच पर बुलाते हैं डॉक्टर RB सिंह, फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ASRB, फॉर्मर चांसलर सेंट्रल एग्रीकल्चरल यूनिवर्सिटी इम्फाल. जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत हो जाए डॉक्टर RB सिंह जी का.
Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Shekhar Mande, respected Dr. Himanshu Pathak, our State Secretary and Director General, of course, most respected Dr. Sanjay Kumarji, Chairman ASRB, all the distinguished colleagues sitting here, outstanding friends, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I wish the board a very happy 52nd Foundation Day celebration. As a matter of fact, quality human resource is the greatest treasure of a nation. And you, ASRB colleagues and friends, have been really feeling that treasure. And this is what I think is extremely important to see the human resource as a national treasure. ASRB has been serving as a bridge between what is available and what is needed in the country in terms of skill, talent search, Charu, that is how it is, and quality of human resources in the fast-changing world. The quality is not stagnant, has to be also modified, and therefore the system needs to be elevated every time that we see a change has taken place. Thus, ASRB has a key challenge to perform in terms of really looking for the quality, to be able to pick the top quality talent. Unfortunately, this has been happening for the past several years in the right way. Recalling ARS as a prestigious system, ASRB's attachment with DARE or with any other system should have no impact on its independence or autonomy. We must ensure the autonomy of the system so that the quality people sitting on the board can only go in for quality people from those who are in front of them. Towards ensuring quality, the relevance, reach, preparedness, and balance objectivity, which includes the scorecard. Objectivity and scorecard have to be defined and to be seen how important they are together in the system, and this is the high time, because there is a lot of discussion about the scorecard, that we look it into about the objectivity and the scorecard system to be helping each other rather than being antagonistic to each other. It will be helpful for us to see the interactions among the ASRB, ICR, and the DARE on this very fact which I have just highlighted, the scorecard and the objectivity. There has to be a provision for inviting outstanding NRI scientists from abroad, from the existing, to fill the existing positions, and which again is a process, Charu, that means intensifying the talent hunt. Wherever we can find the best of the best, we should be able to invite and should be able to absorb in our system. There has to be analysis of pattern of quality of human resources over the time, the availability position-wise, state-wise, and discipline-wise will be helpful. We cannot leave some of the parts of the country to go in one way and the other part going in another way. There has to be a tremendous integration and harmonization. Given the fast feminization of agriculture and swelling proportion of meritorious women candidates, ASRB must avail the opportunity to ensure gender balance in employment in agriculture. We find here, if you look at the merit list, girls very often have outscored in many of the processes. I feel this has to be respected, and gender inequality has to be denied. ASRB, in association with DARE and Niti Aayog, should expand the employment opportunity in new emerging areas, a lot of areas, artificial intelligence, value chain development, ITs, data analytics, digitalization, precision agriculture, you name it, a series of those things. And there has to be a special look into this. And only those people who are trained in these frontier areas will make a difference with adequate experience in the process. ASRB should harness science, technology, and skill-centric hiring to enhance entrepreneurial and startup-based enrichment of human resources for enhancing employment in the country. ASRB is just not for picking the right people, but also should have a much broader, wider vision to help the nation by this process. ASRB may undertake research on recruitment and selection for improving efficacy of the process that has been followed or is being proposed to be followed in agriculture sector. Last but one, ASRB should lead the development and deployment of scientists and skilled personnel for transforming agriculture during the Amrit Kal and ensuring comprehensive food, nutrition, and income security, climate-smart agriculture, resource security, particularly water, soil, biodiversity, economy, and meeting changing consumer demand. You have to really think comprehensively in line with the if Professor Pathak thinks about these areas as a chairman, he thinks also about those areas of the ASRB, and so does the Sanjay Kumarji. I feel very strongly that this kind of approach will be very helpful. Finally, we should do some introspection, and ASRB may ask herself some questions. Number one question may be, as we foster the PPPP, 4 Ps, public-private peasant partnership, can ASRB help also the private sector in hiring suitably skilled and expert people or persons? Can ASRB consider diversity, equity and inclusion while making selection without compromising the quality? These are all some national problems which has to be thought by ASRB. Does ASRB make use of the possibilities of artificial intelligence in the selection process? Has ASRB analyzed long-term workforce planning in the country? What will be the future of agriculture in this country as we see today? Can we look beyond certain limits so that India can also make it sure that we don't miss the bus when it comes to reaching the unreached places? Does ASRB consider also interaction with other such national and international groups such as Alliance International? Can we interact and still enrich ourselves? Finally, has ASRB promoted contextuality of academic curricula in transforming Indian agriculture? A good number of positions are vacant today in several frontier areas, and this kind of discrimination or inequality is existent today in our system. Should ASRB not be able to alert those systems that, look, here is a need for developing the right human resource? So you have not only the job of selection, you have also the job of educating the system so that it is strong enough to fit all the places with the right and quality persons. Thank you very much. Jai Bharat.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय। इसी के साथ अब हम यहाँ पर आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे चेयरमैन PPVFRA, फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी डेयर एंड DGICAR डॉक्टर त्रिलोचन महापात्रा जी को जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत किया जाए।
Thank you very much. At the outset, let me thank Dr. Sanjay Kumar, Chairman ASRB, for inviting me. All the dignitaries on the dais, it's too long a list to take the names, and also time is short, so 10 minutes at disposal, and then a long list of speakers again remaining. So all dignitaries of the dais, colleagues and friends, nice to be here on the foundation day of ASRB. So heartiest congratulations to ASRB, its chairman, all the members, all the staff, and all concerned with ASRB on this foundation day. A wonderful occasion to be here. As it was presented and as it was spoken, a lot has been done. ASRB has traversed a long, strenuous path, and also, very importantly, achieved several milestones during its history of 50 years, 52 years, 51 years. And there are several suggestions which have been made by stalwarts who have made tremendous contributions. Very briefly, in about 10 minutes, I'll say a few points. ASRB is a wonderful organization supporting ICR tremendously in human resource management in terms of recruitment. and it has also played significant role and still continue to play a role in recruiting even staff other than scientists, as it was presented. Though originally it was not really designed for that, but because of our requirements and problems, we have entered into that. Many things to speak about. ASRB, when I joined as DGICR, prior to that, I had to face several times ASRB, come to ASRB as a candidate. And of course, many good memories of those selection events, but I'll not go into that. When I joined, Dr. Gurbachan Singh was the chairman, and then almost a year we had several selections. And then he departed ASRB due to his personal reason. And what started is a series of processes which were put in place in terms of review, in terms of his reform, whatever, in many ways. So I'll not go into that. It has taken a lot of time, a lot of hardship one has to go through to bring reforms. Mention was made about Dr. Paroda committee report, and some of the things are already implemented and some of the things are not yet. But it's not that those points have not been discussed. Each and every point were discussed, and whatever was possible to implement were implemented. And still other points can be further discussed, and if there is a possibility and to implement, and it's required to be implemented, why not? So that should be really done. Probably that would be my first point to make. One can revisit and then see what are the points which are still required to be implemented and need to be really pursued further. Because it's not easy, making a cabinet note and defending all that you are telling, and then, getting everything accepted by those, who are on the other side of the table. So whatever we could convince and got it approved, and then now it is an implementation stage. So at least some of the recommendations, if we have 4 members today and we have a chairperson, chairman other than the 3 members, that's based on the committee recommendation, and the government also agreed. Earlier, the senior most was supposed to be the chairperson, senior most member, but we never practiced. It was suggested. I can go to each point which was made here and then tell what is to be really done, but I don't want to do that. And hopefully, Chairman ASRB would have another, small discussion to churn out further and then bring some concrete points for further implementation. Because there are many points which haven't discussed and rediscussed, and then they were either discarded or were thought to be not implementable and not in the interest of the organization. So many points are there. And some of them which were adopted, accepted after due diligence, it has been done. So scorecard was mentioned and how it was done and all the long story. And Dr. Mishra was mentioning, and that was the period when we had to struggle for many things. And I remember to start online. So Dr. Mishra was against that, I must say. That we should not have online meetings because it would not be able to maintain, secrecy. So I had to talk to, Secretary Meiti, Cabinet Secretary, and so many others, and then, and finally, get it implemented that we should have online system, and then subsequently it all started. Anyway, I'll not go into those details. So many things are there to speak about, and easy to speak, but this land which is given by NBSS LUP, Dr. Chaudhary is not here. He was ADG those days, but thanks to him. And it was not very easy to, get the land for ASRB to be established there. The land which was selected, that was a different category of land where the building could not be constructed. So how much of thinking goes into all our decisions, one need to really bother about. I don't want to be really critical at this point in time, but that was the issue actually. So we need to really, take decisions after due diligence, and that is what was really done very critically. And thanks to the directors, as Dr. Gurbachan Singh Saab was there, so we had a lot of discussion, and we have a separate building institute for ASRB, and very good things have happened during this period. But anyway, so what is for future? So we say that, scorecard should not change and we should not revisit, and scorecard, first of all, should be there or not. A lot of discussions have happened, and, we should change. It's not that we should not change, but sufficient time should be given for the scorecard to mature. There could be some deficiencies at some point in time, but after, thorough testing over a period of time, which is sufficient enough to find, deficiencies. So unless that is done, we should not really, very frequently be changing this scorecard. And as Dr. Pathak said, so 10 years, but once he leaves, maybe somebody else comes and starts meddling with this. Because some person is not getting selected, as Dr. Gurbachan Singh said. So there could be issues. So already 12:50, so I should leave the podium. But 1-2 minutes more. What we should be really doing? And Dr. RB Singh did mention quality and all that. Are we really selecting the best people as scientists? Is ASRB doing that? What kind of scientists ICR needs? That is the fundamental question ICR should ask. And, and we, I very strongly argued that we should have a PhD as the minimum qualification as a scientist to do science once they enter the system. And, so we have reversed that. So we should really relook at that. And then, Dr. Mande is here. He might be wondering what we are discussing. And they don't accept anybody as scientists if they don't have PhD. And forget about PhD without a postdoc. So they should have postdocs. Postdoctoral experience is required, essential. And after several publications and years of trials and tribulations, without much contribution, what scientist? So agriculture should be exception, or we should be real. And then you set the criteria for selection of scientists. What should be criteria for selecting someone to be a scientist in the ICR system? So one should really worry about it. And if you are planning for future, for 2050, mention was made about Amrit Kal, 2047 or 2050, what should be our plan and strategy so that we have scientists in the ICR system? And what kind of scientists? If you enter somebody without knowing what is science and without doing any science, 5, 6 years, 10 years goes, and subsequently if he fails, he can never be a scientist, and he can be a RTI activist and specialist. So one has seen several examples like this. So ASRB, to put this in place, the selecting best person to be the scientist in the first place through ARS system, probably that is the first thing to be really discussed, deliberated, and thoroughly, and involving experts from other systems, CSIR, DBT, and DST, and other systems, and then form up the view that what should really be done. And similarly, lateral recruitments, we must really get the best talent through this system. And that was in place. We got some people, but also we got some people who don't really deserve. So that we must accept this. So in everything there will be some loophole here and there, but we should be able to really address those adequately and take the best people. And best persons working in the world, they will not come unless you provide facilities. I have few examples. We selected some and they left. They went back. So unless we provide facilities, so ICR and ASRB, they have to sit together and plan this out. And if you have the best person of the world coming to your system through lateral entry, what is that you provide to him? And probably, we need to really see in terms of increment or in terms of other facilities, what can be really provided. A way out need to be really worked out. But I remember we were not getting candidates, and today is the same thing, that we are not really sufficient candidates for senior scientists and principal scientists. And keeping that in mind, we shifted 300 positions of senior scientists and principal scientists to ARS positions, through cadre review. So even after doing that, we are still not getting candidates for this. So this is a real gray area. We need to really work on this and see how best we can attract the talents from other systems, from other institutions and abroad, particularly those who have done PDF, and they will not come to become senior scientists just like any other who have just done PhD without any experience. So if we have some solid criteria there, probably we'll be able to attract the best and then provide the opportunity for the institution and the organization to really flourish. And similarly, heads of the divisions, we do have one candidate sometimes, and most often also we don't have candidates. And there's a serious matter for ICIA. And what you are selecting, actually, you are not selecting. You don't have option to select because it's just one candidate. So I think, people don't want to move, that whether one should really go back to rotation at the same place, senior people becoming head, and in 3 years you change the headship, and instead of recruiting people from outside, because nobody wants to move. So one can really see, and it was the system sometime prevalent, should go back to that and then think about it seriously. And one need not really come to ASRB for selection if it is required. So, or have some other system, because we are not giving any additional incentive to them in terms of whether it is director or head, there is the same salary. Or whether it is ADG, director or head, there is no difference in salary. What is that extra one gets? So one should move away from family or other things which they have established at one place, their own home and all that. So there are issues, need to really deliberate on this. How do we take and plan for future? Mention was made that Dr. R.B. Singh made some good points. And, one need to really look at it, that how do we, because when we are, Dr. Chakrabarti and K.K. Singh mentioned that how time was spent on screening of applications. And today we have computerized it. 6 months NIC took, everybody says NIC, we asked NIC, requested NIC to do this. 6 months they spent and nothing happened. It's not easy, there are many issues. And at that point in time, the scorecard, and then how best we can computerize it. There was an issue there. And then, there was one secretary ASRB from, who was in charge, who is from Department of Agriculture and Cooperation, and he said, I'll do. He was looking at IT there. He said, I'll do it in a few months. And when he talked to his people, he said, not less than 6 months. So that is the kind of thing what need to really do and see what can be done in future. It's not easy. Talking is easy. When you go into it, so it really you feel what it is. So I talked to Dr. Agarwal, DDG, and Sudeep is here. So I must take your name, Sudeep, because whatever we see today, that we can screen 50 applications in one day, or 100 applications in one day, it's because, so I talked to Sudeep and they said, 15 दिन में करके डाल दिया, कर डाल दिया. तो 15 दिन, 20 दिन में हमारे कंप्यूटराइज सिस्टम स्कोर कार्ड का हो गया. Earlier screening करते रहिए, इतने bias भी होते थे, because it's not easy always to screen, objectively. So this objectivity has come, but how do we preserve it? How do we preserve this objective? If we meddle with that, then it will be lost. There should not be consideration of any kind to meddle with that. Unless we doubt something, then you inquire with those who have certified. If director has certified, vice chancellor has certified, hey, the joint director has certified, or DDG or DG have certified, ask them how they have certified something which is not right. So instead of you meddling or experts coming without knowing anything, meddling with the scorecard would not be really the right thing. I think this is what one need to really look at it very critically. And similarly, there are so many things to talk about, but Chairman Saab, so I would refrain from doing, already I have taken already more time. And a whole lot of things are to be really discussed. And for ASRB to move forward and reform. And you say 30 marks is enough to do anything you wish to do. If you want to select the best, you can do that. But if you ask again science questions and say, mention was made, what is the difference between soil and land? So you keep asking, and then you can spend 4 hours, you will not be able to select the best. So point is, how do you utilize that interview time to assess people even for 30 marks? And for their career developments and whatever they have done with regard to research, with regard to administration, everything is there in scorecard. Everything is there. Those who don't go through the scorecard, they will complain about it. But everything is there in the scorecard. But these 30 marks, whether relevant, we falter there. Why should we select irrelevant people? Give 0 to them. If they are relevant to the position that you are interviewing for. So I think a lot more to do there in interview, and I think that need to be really discussed separately. So, and so many things to do for future Chairman Saab. And you being there, hopefully you will be able to strive this hard to make it a different organization. We don't have to, as it mentioned, we don't have to go to DOPT and go to some other organization to be independent. And we are almost, I will say, fairly independent. So you keep it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर त्रिलोचन महापात्रा। अब हम मंच पर बुलाना चाहेंगे चांसलर रानी लक्ष्मीबाई सेंट्रल एग्रीकल्चर यूनिवर्सिटी और फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी डेयर एंड DGICI डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह जी को। एक बार जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत हो जाए डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह जी का।
Well, good afternoon and welcome to all of you. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, the chairman of the board, very distinguished chief guest of the function today, Dr. Pathak, Professor R.B. Singh, Dr. Mahapatra, all my colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Let me at the very outset compliment the board led by the chairman to have this good function today where we could meet together, discuss so many things with prospect and retrospect, you can see, and got so many points which could be useful for the people to use. Let me make, I will take only 5 minutes before I get the Vedi's note. So, particularly my association with all this process. I joined ICR in 1972 and the board started in 1973. So right from that B8 South Extension 2 to Chan Bhavan and one-member committee of Dr. Sahare to all you see today, and the infrastructure that has built, we have seen over a period of time, a lot of things have gone ups and down, and improvement suggestions have come forward. Today, I can very proudly say, on behalf of all of you, ASRB has emerged as a very outstanding system. It's not only serving a model selection process for scientists for ICR, even for universities and even countries outside. They are taking help of your scorecard and whatever they get that design system. So I think in every system, as everyone has said, it's a process. Nobody is perfect. So I think on that account, I must congratulate all of you sitting here and on the dais, those who have been part of it in one form or other to see the system that we have. I will only highlight certain things. I said in the journey you have achieved enough. What you had, one-man committee, limited to selecting RMPs or something, to all that you are doing, your section officers, your administrative officers, technical officers, management people, that itself is a big thing that you think. So ASRB has moved. 51 years is not a very big period, but then that process, I think by all standards, it has achieved its goal that you have. The scorecard was a milestone. I was DG in 2000, and that period when the scorecard came, because that was, discussed time and again as what is to be done. And introduction of this brought a big change from many points of view, from transparency, from efficiency, efficacy, and even the pressure that you used to get, and you will be getting all the time because you are all human beings, also gave a time of, that if you have this kind of, qualification, then only you are going to come in, and pressure on that can make only plus minus this and that difference. Otherwise, you are likely to select somebody who is. So this has been, and now when you listen, I quite agree with Dr. Mahapatra that everything in this scorecard, because it has been discussed, we had 15, 16 chairman of the SRB, and I think same number, maybe 14, 15 review committees. Headed very, very significant people, all of them make some very good recommendation. In the process, a lot of it has been implemented, many may not have been, and they are still in the process because you keep reading. I think you need to look at that. I am sure the SRB will make that kind of progress that you have. A few suggestions, there is nothing left that I have to make, because Dr. Sanjay Kumar made a very, very good presentation giving, the history and what they look for. And then all sitting here have made their points. Whatever is left, I'm sure Dr. Pathak will fill up that. So I don't want to get into all that, but I want to just cement one or two points, this lateral entry at each level, becomes very important to have some kind of a cross-breeding, across institutions, across country. Now, it's not that it's not in place. We have selected in past, we have recruited that. Even the first ARS selection was globally advertised. Put the centers outside country. I think there is need to look at it little more seriously as to how to get these people and then create ambience for them to be here. Because many of them don't like to come because they say after selection what? Where will I be, whether I will be a gainer or loser? So those things I think we are in the process of doing them. At each level I think we have to do. And similarly in case of career advancement, again suggestions have come on that score of 95, 70, whatever. But I think there should be some kind of a kind of a very clear distinction. Good is good and bad is bad. And given that, I think that kind of confirmation and it should go. And I think that will make a difference that we are looking at it as to what best could be done with the system. Now, lastly, I will say, and it has been said, it's a personal-based system. Every human being has elasticity. So I think we should have that elasticity, but after a certain point, you have to say that I can now, and you can't bend, but you can break. And I think that partly if that comes in the system, I am sure many of these things we talk about, because one reason which has been said, there have been so many complaints, but none of those could get really established. That itself is a color for the system that everything challenged has never gone against ASRB. So that itself is a system that has been very robust. And otherwise, as you have seen Dr. Mahi saying, that there has been a lot of hearing from ministers, this and that. And notices were issued, circulars were issued, and even the complaints from the House of if they don't appoint him because he has spoiled the system. I don't know what he did as a chairman, whether he appointed and led to divorce or something, I don't know what is that. But I think those things should not be really taken. I don't say that you can't accept it, but you are not quite immune to it. But I think people have been registering. And during this period, I personally feel it was actually dependent on the person who headed the system. I'm saying all these 50 years that I have been in the system all through, depending on the person who heads it and the kind of flexibility he has, that those complaints and this and that have been repeated. There had been a system where we'll find not even one complaint. I mean, that itself a great thing. It indicates that we have to really manage and put in that system that you have. And lastly, I will say that we have to have a very clear-cut distinction in selecting a scientist and then again selecting a scientific leader, scientist leader. Because at times if institutions are going in wrong hands, universities are going in wrong hands, and you find the whole system, what you have done in 20, 30, 15 years, get demolished in just 5 years' time. So I think we have to be extra careful in really, doing that kind of who can do. And I think there are set processes, procedures, getting in the process of improvement. But I think we could really lay larger emphasis on those points so that you can really get some of those. And I think at the end I'll stop here and saying that it's an unparalleled system, as I said. A lot of improvements have been made. And the whole process, every point that we talked about here has already been debated time and again. And out of that it has improved. It will keep improving. And I am showing the kind of leader that Sanjay ji is providing with his 3 strong stalwarts and secretary, and all of us being here to, tell him or advise him or at least suggest him that what could be done. I am very confident that system will emerge, has already emerged and become a role model for others who are really following this. And I was happy to see her, because most of us have sat in civil services selection process in UPSC. I also quite agreed for the statement that we are very inferior to those systems. In fact, in many ways, we are much better selecting the process that we are getting. And therefore, let us attempt to improve that and bring it as one of the best systems that we have, not only in the country, but in the rest of the world. So with these words, I thank you, Sanjay ji, for your efforts, for getting us here and talking to you. And let us feel that we have a very robust system, complaints, the process. And it has never stuck us down. It has never let us down. We have kept moving and we'll keep moving. So with all these words, we wish you all the best. And thank each one of you for being here. And to the board, to the ASRB particularly, for getting all of us to share our views on this important point. Thank you very much and all the best. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय। और अब कार्यक्रम में समय है ई लॉन्चिंग का। आज के हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय, विशिष्ट अतिथि महोदय और सभी गणमान्य अतिथियों की उपस्थिति के चलते ASRB की जो एक पुस्तक है और साथ ही साथ ASRB की नई वेबसाइट का आज ई विमोचन किया जाएगा, और इसके लिए हम हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय से अनुमति लेना चाहेंगे। तो आइए हमारे माननीय मुख्य अतिथि की अनुमति से हम लॉन्चिंग का शुभारंभ करते हैं। बता दें आपको, आज के हमारे इस कार्यक्रम के दौरान एक पुस्तक का विमोचन किया जा रहा है जिसका शीर्षक है अ जर्नी ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल साइंटिस्ट रिक्रूटमेंट बोर्ड ASRB पार्ट 2 2014-2024। A Journey of Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board ASRB Part 2 2014-2024 Shaping Agricultural Research Education and Extension Through Talent Search। इस किताब में न केवल ASRB की उत्पत्ति और इतिहास दिया गया है, बल्कि पिछले 10 वर्षों में ASRB के प्रमुख सुधारों और पुनर्गठन की प्रक्रिया को भी सुंदर तरीके से दर्शाया गया है। डेर के स्वतंत्र संलग्न कार्यालय के रूप में ICR से ASRB का अलग होना, अपनी स्वतंत्र इमारत में एक नए कार्यालय में स्थानांतरण, बोर्ड का विस्तार, नई वेबसाइट और ऑनलाइन आवेदन सॉफ्टवेयर पार्ट में शामिल कुछ विवरण हैं। ये पुस्तक 2013 में ASRB की स्थापना के 40 वर्ष पूरे होने के उपलक्ष्य में जारी किए गए इसी नाम के पहले प्रकाशन का सीक्वल है। और एक नई वेबसाइट भी आज के इस कार्यक्रम के दौरान उसका विमोचन किया जा रहा है। बता दें आपको, वेबसाइट का रूप और अनुभव उपयोगकर्ताओं के लाभ के लिए काफ़ी सुधारा गया है और ASRB ऑनलाइन आवेदन एंड स्कोर कार्ड सूचना प्रणाली एप्लीकेशन ने अपने संचालन के 3 साल सफलतापूर्वक पूरे कर लिए हैं। ये प्रणाली ऑनलाइन आवेदन आमंत्रित करने के लिए विकसित की गई है। भरे हुए परफॉर्मा के अनुसार स्वचालित रूप से स्कोर की गणना करता है। बता दें आपको कि आज के हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में जो पुस्तक का विमोचन किया गया है उसके लिए हमारे ASRB के सभी उच्च अधिकारीगण और सभी जो संबंधित सदस्य हैं उनका योगदान रहा है और अहम योगदान जो है हमारे ICAR के DKMA का रहा है। DKMA की टीम का सहयोग मिला है जिसके चलते इस पुस्तक को आज प्रकाशित किया गया है। और साथ ही साथ अगर हम वेबसाइट का यहाँ पर जिक्र करते हैं तो इसमें इंडियन एग्रीकल्चरल स्टैटिस्टिकल रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूट की कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन प्रभाग का भी बहुत बहुत सहयोग हमें मिला है और सभी हमारे योगदानकर्ताओं का हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहते हैं और उन्हें हार्दिक बधाई देना चाहते हैं। एक बार जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं। और इसी के साथ अब हम बढ़ते हैं आगे और अब हम मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर डॉक्टर हिमांशु पाठक जी को, जो सेक्रेटरी डेयर और DG ICR हैं। महोदय, आपसे निवेदन है आप सभी को संबोधित करते हुए 2 शब्द कहें। जोरदार तालियों के साथ स्वागत हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर का।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। All the very, very distinguished personalities on the dais, our chief guest, former DG ICR and Secretary DARE, chairman, members of this esteemed board, ASRB, all very distinguished personalities present in this particular hall. First of all, let me congratulate ASRB. Not that I was a part of that and I'm still a part of this, but for many achievements, many, many accomplishments which it has made. Not only new building, not the full-fledged board, almost all the staff in position, and all the recruitment process are almost on time, almost on time. All the directors and RMP positions in this council, all 113, and if you include head of the division and project coordinators, the number becomes more than 500. Except some of the very recently retired persons, almost all the positions are in place on a regular basis. So again, congratulations ASRB and Chairman Sahab to you. All the cash promotions, career advancement scheme, I was informed that it is 100% done. Not a single institute, not a single scientist anywhere at this point of time is due or waiting for his or her promotion. And again, congratulations to ASRB Chairman Sahab and all of your staff. Of course, new website, all these things, and very nice presentation which you made today. Friends, for any organization, of course, it needs many things. It needs money, it needs laboratory, it needs building, it needs roads. But the most important resource is the human resource. अगर वो सही है, फिर तब का ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सही है। और वो कहीं गलत हो गया, फिर तब उनको जितना मर्जी पैसा दे दीजिए, बिल्डिंग बनवा दीजिए, रोड बनवा दीजिए, लेबोरेटरी बनवा दीजिए, वो सिस्टम नहीं चल सकता। So for ICR, ASRB does that job of identifying the right person for right position. तो मैं बैठे बैठे सोच रहा था कि अगर ICR एक व्यक्ति हो तो उनका जो दिमाग है, जो ब्रेन है, वो तो ASRB के पास है। So ASRB is the brain for whole ICR system because they are hiring people for us. And with those people only, the whole system is being run. तो आपका काम डॉक्टर साहब is probably the most important job in whole ICR and NARS system ASRB is doing for us. ये इतना important है, महाभारत में जो कुछ लोग अगर आप याद होगा, जब युद्ध शुरू हो रहा है तो हर एक राजा, कुछ राजा पांडवों में जाके जुड़ रहे हैं, कुछ कौरव के साथ जा रहे हैं। कृष्ण भगवान अब वो कहाँ जाएंगे, किसके पक्ष में जाएंगे? तो उन्होंने शर्त रखा कि मैं एक तरफ होऊंगा और मेरे ऑपोजिट में 1 लाख सेना होंगे जो मेरे जैसे बलवान होंगे, ताकतवर होंगे, साहसी होंगे। तो आई एम ऑन वन साइड एंड दोज 1 लाख विल बी द अदर साइड। आप कौरव और पांडव डिसाइड कर लें किसको चाहते हैं। और अर्जुन और दुर्योधन को बुलाया गया कि आप दोनों डिसाइड कीजिए किसको आप चाहते हैं। मुझे, जो मैं निहत्तर रहूँगा, मैं युद्ध करूँगा नहीं, मैं अकेले निहत्तर रहूँगा, मुझे चाहते हैं आप, या ये जो 1 लाख फुल्ली वेपन्ड, ऑल दोज ब्रिलियंट एंड ऑल सोल्जर्स, किसको आप चाहते हैं? अर्जुन ने कहा कि मैं तो आप ही को चाहता हूँ। कहते मैं युद्ध करूँगा नहीं, कहते युद्ध करे या ना करे, मैं तो आप ही को चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि जहाँ आप हैं, जहाँ कोई सही व्यक्ति है, जीत उसी दल के ही होना है। तो मैं उतने 1 लाख लोगों को लेकर करूँगा क्या? मुझे तो एक आध व्यक्ति चाहिए जो सही हो, और वो व्यक्ति आप में मुझे दिखाई पड़ रहे हैं, तो मुझे तो आप चाहिए, बाकी आप कौरव को जो मर्जी पूरा दुनिया दे दीजिए, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। नाउ दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ह्यूमन रिसोर्स, एंड दिस इज व्हाट वी नीड, एंड दिस इज व्हाट ASRB डज फॉर अस। बट हाउ टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट पर्सन? ये पूरे भीड़ में वो कृष्ण को कैसे आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे आप? ये इतना आसान काम नहीं है। मैं जब ज्वाइन किया, मुझे तो पता था कि मैं DG HR और सेक्रेटरी DR ज्वाइन कर रहा हूँ, मुझे ये नहीं पता था कि मैं ASRB चेयरमैन भी हो सकता हूँ। लगभग 1 महीने बाद मुझे किसी ने आके बताया कि सर एक लेटर साइन करना पड़ेगा आपको, आपको ये चार्ज भी लेना होगा। तो मैं चलो कोई बात नहीं, ये भी ले लेते हैं, तो वो भी लिया। फिर बहुत ही एक सीनियर व्यक्ति मेरे पास आए वैसे कुछ मीटिंग में, उन्होंने कहा कि हिमांशु, मैं आपको इस व्यक्ति से मिलाना चाहता हूँ। ही वॉज अ वेरी सीनियर रेपुटेड पर्सन। सर मैं जानता हूँ। कहते नहीं आप तो जानते होंगे, लेकिन इतना ज़्यादा नहीं जानते होंगे, मैं बताता हूँ। किसी जमाने में दिस पर्सन हैड फ्रेंड्स इन एवरीवेयर इन आईसीआर, पूरे आईसीआर सिस्टम में लगभग सभी को इनके दोस्त थे किसी जमाने में, और आज पूरे सिस्टम में इनका एक भी दोस्त नहीं बचा। जानते हैं आप कौन है? कहते ये ASRB के मेंबर थे। इस सिस्टम में पूरे 5-6 साल में पूरे सिस्टम में जितने भी दोस्त थे इनके, वो सब दोस्त एक एक करके, मैंने कहा सर ये कैसे हो सकता है? कहते होता है। आप किसी एक पोजीशन के लिए आपने एडवर्टाइजमेंट किया, 30 लोगों ने फॉर्म भरा, उनमें से 10 को आपने इंटरव्यू में बुलाया, तो 20 लोग तो उसी दिन से आपके। कहते वो जो 10 को आपने बुलाया, उनमें से एक का सिलेक्शन हुआ, वो जो 9 है वो निकल गए, तो 30 में से 29 तो निकल गए, वो आपके दोस्त तो आप रहे नहीं हो। मैंने कहा सर एक दोस्त तो है। कहते नहीं वो भी नहीं है। मैंने कहा ये कैसे? कहते जिनका हुआ वो भी बाद में कहेंगे नहीं नहीं साहब तो मेरे खिलाफ थे, वो तो मैं अपने बलबूते पे आया हूँ यहाँ, तो एक भी नहीं बचे इसमें। तो ASRB का काम ऐसा है, आपके दोस्त अगर बचे खुचे कहीं है वो बचेंगे नहीं, बट दैट इज द ब्यूटी एंड स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ ASRB। जो भी लोग यहाँ आप देख रहे हैं, ईच वन ऑफ देम हैव कंट्रीब्यूटेड विद दैट seniority, dedication, loyalty, and with that sensitivity to run this particular system. We know for any system there will be lots of things to be improved. कोई भी system perfect हो ही नहीं सकता. Always there will be scope for improvement, and improvement should be a continuous process. Reform is a continuous process. ये कोई stop नहीं हो सकता कि आप कर दिया मतलब बस अब आगे कुछ नहीं हो सकता, नहीं. Even God can also be a better God. And that process is on. हम करते रहते हैं उसको. जो होना चाहिए ऐसा एक प्रोसेस हो, और मुझे लगता है कि काफ़ी हद तक वो है ASRB में, कि ये जो निर्णय का सिलेक्शन का जो प्रोसेस हो वो बिल्कुल सही हो, सटीक हो, सही पद, सही व्यक्ति, वो सहज हो, इजी हो। ऐसा नहीं कि इतना लंबा प्रोसेस है कि वो खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है। कुछ CG सिस्टम का 360 डिग्रीज का भी बात कर रहे थे। आई हैव अंडरगॉन विद सम ऑफ दोज प्रोसेस। इट इज सो लॉन्ग एंड टाइम कंज्यूमिंग एंड सो कॉस्टली, वो हमारा ICR सिस्टम उसको अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकता। टू हायर वन पर्सन इन सीनियर लेवल एंड इन CG, दे स्पेंड मोर देन 40-50 lakhs. Can we spend that? Do we really need that kind of system? No. ये चलता है 4 महीना एक व्यक्ति का प्रोसेस में। जब एप्लीकेशन तो छोड़ दीजिए आप, जब क्या इंटरव्यू शुरू हुआ, इट विल कंटिन्यू फॉर 4 months. कैन वी अफोर्ड दैट काइंड ऑफ सिस्टम? तो हमारा प्रोसेस तो सहज होना चाहिए, सही होना चाहिए, सहज होना चाहिए और स्वच्छ होना चाहिए, ट्रांसपेरेंट होनी चाहिए, so that anybody anytime can ask a question and we should be ready to give the answer. This is what it is, this is what we follow. तो ये चीज़ काफ़ी हद तक ASRB में है, and I'm sure जहाँ भी थोड़ा बहुत कमियाँ हैं, several suggestions were given. Each and every suggestion is extremely useful. So we will be taking conscience of all of these suggestions and try to move the way the whole organization should move. डॉक्टर साहब, आपने सबको तो ASRB के सजेशन के लिए बुलाया था, मुझे आयशर के लिए भी काफ़ी सजेशंस मिल गए, चलिए हमारा काम भी आपने कर दिया. बट देन लेट मी टेल यू, दिस इज very important point, and Dr. Punjab Singh ji, Dr. Mahapatra, many others have talked. ICR or ASRB, particularly DG ICR and Chairman ASRB and members ASRB, ये अगर सेम wavelength में ना हो तो then it becomes very difficult to run the system. ये दोनों का ऑब्जेक्टिव, ये दोनों की ऑनेस्टी, दोनों की सिंसियरिटी ICR के प्रति, नार्स के प्रति अगर एक हो जाए, ये वेवलेंथ अगर मिल जाए दोनों की, तो then only this system can perform the best. And without any hesitation, let me tell you, at least with me, चेयरमैन साहब और बाकी जो मेंबर्स इस समय हैं, we are in perfect harmony so far as our understanding, wavelength and objectives are concerned. And that could be the reason that in a very short time, we could really achieve all those things which the system needed at the most. So with these few words, once again, congratulating ASRB for doing so great over the years. And of course, we still will be doing several other very important things. All those suggestions we have taken note of. And I am very much sure that ASRB can really cater the need of whatever this system needs. आगे चल के डॉक्टर साहब, I am not going to discuss all those things in detail. There are several big programs which we are discussing for ASRB. Probably ASRB will have to perform even much greater role, much bigger role, rather than only ICR selection and so on. But let's see how best we will be able to do that. With this, thank you very much all of you for being here today on this very important day, the Foundation Day ASRB, and wish you all the best, ASRB chairman and all the members. Thank you. Jai Hind.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय. और अब वक्त आ गया है जिसका हम बहुत देर से इंतजार कर रहे थे. अब हम मंच पर बुलाना चाहेंगे हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय, डिस्टिंग्विश्ड प्रोफेसर सावित्रीबाई फुले पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी एंड फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी DSIR एंड DG CSIR डॉक्टर शेखर C मांडे. जोरदार तालियों के साथ हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय का स्वागत हो जाए.
इस मंच पर उपस्थित वर्तमान सचिव डेयर और महानिदेशक ICR हिमांशु पाठक जी, डॉक्टर पंजाब सिंह जी, मेरे बहुत ही अच्छे दोस्त त्रिलोचन महापात्र जी, मेरे और एक बहुत करीब मित्र संजय कुमार जी, मंच पर उपस्थित सभी गणमान्य व्यक्तिगण और इस सभागृह में उपस्थित सभी भाई और बहनों, मैं ज़्यादा समय नहीं लूँगा, समय की पाबंदी है, लेकिन आप समझ रहे होंगे कि मेरी आवाज़ भी दिल्ली में आके बैठी हुई है. ये दिल्ली बड़ा अजीब शहर है, जो भी मेहमान आता है तो सबसे पहले उसकी आवाज़ बैठा देता है, और दूसरी बात कि आँखों में पानी भी ले आता है. तो आँखों में मेरे जो आंसू देख रहे हो तो खुशी के आंसू तो हैं ही कि आपके साथ कुछ मैं समय बिता पा रहा हूँ, लेकिन इसमें दिल्ली का भी एक बहुत बड़ा हाथ है कि जो आँखों में से लगातार पानी बहते रहता है. सर्वप्रथम ये 52वें स्थापना दिवस की आप सभी को शुभकामनाएं, आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन. जैसे कि हिमांशु जी ने कहा कि किसी भी सक्सेसफुल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए ह्यूमन रिसोर्सेज इज़ अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ दैट. एंड व्हेन वी गिव टॉक्स अराउंड मेनी डिफरेंट प्लेसेस, especially in the management organizations or in scientific leadership initiatives across the country, I make typically 2 points. Point number one, for a successful organization, whether that be a university like Harvard, Oxford, whether that be a company like Tata's or Facebook or Google, or whether that be a cricket team or a football team, there are two very important ingredients for that particular organization to be successful. Himanshu ji has already said one of that. Organizations are made up of people. And unless the quality of people is sufficiently good, that organization can never aspire to achieve heights that what it actually wishes to aspire. There's a very important aspect of that. I will give you examples of that. The second point is that only a collection of outstanding individuals will not make organization a successful organization. All the individuals in that organizations have to be aligned with the overall goals and objectives of that organization. All of you follow cricket? Let me give you examples of cricket. Those of you who know that in 2007, India's cricket team was studded with large number of stars. You would have seen Rahul Dravid, Sachin Tendulkar, Saurav Ganguly, Virendra Sehwag. No less than the current cricket team, Virat Kohli, Rahul Sharma, and so on and so forth. But when they went to World Cup in 2007, they could not even go to the next round. So a collection of outstanding individuals does not make a team or that organization an outstanding organization. Because as much as the current cricket team that lost 0-3 to New Zealand, that particular cricket team was not focused on the real objective of winning every game and winning the World Cup for India. The same thing what we see on today's date, that all the collection of people are not aligned with that particular goal. They probably are playing for their individual glories. Right? The same group of individuals, more or less the same group of individuals, 4 years later in 2011, played under the leadership of Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and what he was able to transform them was that particular objective that India must win World Cup. Same group of people, mind you. They were not different. More or less, one or two individuals here and there, but the same group of people, he was able to win the World Cup for India. And that was because it was the leadership of Mahendra Singh Dhoni who was able to actually channelize all the energies in one direction. Now, this is an example from cricket. I can go on giving examples of this in many, many successful businesses, many successful universities, many successful organizations, that two essential ingredients of success for an organization are collection of outstanding individuals and alignment of these individuals to the overall goal of that particular organization. And I believe it's where ASRB like organization actually plays a very important role of finding and supporting and nurturing people for ICAR and for agricultural sciences in general. And that's a very big role that ASRB has played over the years and will continue to play in the coming times as well. If you look at India's history, and especially post-independent history of India, स्वाधीनता के पश्चात गए 77 वर्षों में अगर हम देखें तो हमारे देश की जो प्रगति हुई है, इसमें कृषि और कृषि विज्ञान का एक बहुत बड़ा हाथ रहा है. All of you will agree with me that agriculture has played a major role in India's progress in the last 77 years. और आज अगर हम लोग सपना देखते हैं आने वाले 25 वर्षों का, त्रिलोचन जी ने आपके सामने में कहा जिसे हम लोग अमृतकाल कहते हैं, और हम लोग देखना चाहते हैं कि एक भारत प्रगतिशील देश बने, इसमें भी एग्रीकल्चर का एक बहुत बड़ा हाथ योगदान रहेगा. लेकिन 1947 में हमारे सामने में जो चुनौतियां थी और आज हमारे सामने में जो चुनौतियां हैं, उसमें जमीन आसमान का फर्क है. There is a huge difference between the challenges that our nation had in 1947 and challenges that we are facing today. Just to give you a small example, on today's date, consistently, if you look at last 20, 30, 40 years, the share of agriculture in countries' GDP has fallen down dramatically. The country's overall GDP, on today's date, I believe agriculture contributes roughly about 14-15%? 18%. It was not so in 1947. India was essentially an agricultural economy till about 30-40 years ago. Is that right? The number of people employed in agricultural sector today in India is close to about 40%, right? The number of people employed in agriculture is about 40%. It was much more about 20-30 years ago. And that number is coming down rapidly. So agriculture's role in promoting India's GDP, and more importantly, people who will be employed in agriculture is dropping dramatically. How do we cope up with that? Right? Because India aspires to be a developed country. And this aspiration, most people believe, would be done through sectors such as services, but even more importantly, such as manufacturing. Now, this is what actually most people tend to believe, most economists, and the leadership, the political leadership tends to believe that these are the sectors that will drive India's GDP further up. How do we cope up with that, right? And the only way to cope up is that to embrace all the new thinkings, even in agriculture, all the new challenges, to embrace them, accept them, and start addressing them. And for that, we need to do very serious introspection. We need to do very serious debate among ourselves how we are going to actually do that. And I think ASRB once again has a very major role to play in that particular respect. All the people who have come here and said a few words in the morning have essentially alluded to some aspects of that. And मुझे संजय कुमार जी से एक ही रिक्वेस्ट ये होगी कि इसके लिए मेरे ख्याल से 1 या 2 दिन की, अगर जैसे यहाँ पे इतने सारे लोग एक्सपर्ट्स बैठे हुए हैं और आपने आपके विचार सब लोगों के सामने में रखे, लेकिन हो सकता है कि विस्तृत में नहीं रख पाएँ, 1 या 2 दिन की ऐसी बैठक या संगोष्ठी करें जिसमें हम लोग इसके बारे में सोचें कि आने वाले वक्त में जो जो चुनौतियाँ हैं उसके लिए हम लोग किस तरह हमारी तैयारी करें. One of the major challenges is that, of course, of climate change. There's only one, right? I mean, I'm not going to go to others. And because Himanshu Pathak ji is here, he understands it much better than any one of us here, right? The climate resilience and climate change. On today's date, agriculture contributes to, of the order, about 10% of greenhouse gas emissions, right? Amongst all the sectors, whether it be power, transport, steel, cement, agriculture also contributes significantly to GHG emissions. How are we going to align ourselves? And if we want India to be a Vishwaguru, how do we lead other countries to show that we can actually evolve agricultural practices which minimize greenhouse gas emissions and lead us to that climate change resilient agriculture? That's one of the challenges that we actually need to do. And for that, we need to actually start training people. We need to start refocusing people's energies into the areas what we think are actually going to play important role in the coming times. And once again, there's a clear mandate for ASRB is to not only hire and promote people within the organization for that, but also continuously keep monitoring, assessing the needs of the nation, assessing the needs of the planet, and try to see whether we can generate that kind of manpower which will help us making India a Pragatishil, what we call as a Viksit Bharat by 2047. I think that's a great thing, opportunity lying ahead of us. There's a great opportunity once again for ICAR that not only post-independent the contribution that it made, but once again in 2024, ICAR is very rightly poised to make that contribution once again to make India Viksit Bharat, and for that, ASRB once again has to play a major role for the coming times. Let me wish you, all of you once again, a very 52nd Foundation Day. I have already taken much time, and thank you very much for making me part of this this particular celebration. Thank you all very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद महोदय आपके मार्गदर्शन के लिए और आपने जो भी सुझाव दिए उनके लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। और ऐसे ही हमें हमारे सभी जो गणमान्य हैं उनका मार्गदर्शन मिलता रहे, इसके लिए हम तहे दिल से उनके आभारी रहते हैं। और उन्होंने इतने अच्छे सुझाव हम सभी के समक्ष रखे हैं, हमें यहाँ पर ज्ञान भी दिया है, तो इसके लिए उनका सम्मान करना भी बहुत बनता है। तो ऐसे में अब वक्त हो चला है फेलिसिटेशन का, तो इसके लिए हम गुजारिश करना चाहेंगे ASRB के चेयरमैन डॉक्टर संजय कुमार जी से कि आप सभी को अंगवस्त्र और एक छोटी सी भेंट प्रदान कर सम्मानित करें। हमारे मुख्य अतिथिगण डॉक्टर शेखर सी मांडे, फॉर्मर सेक्रेटरी DSIR and DGCSIR and डिस्टिंग्विश्ड प्रोफेसर सावित्रीबाई फूले पुणे यूनिवर्सिटी। एक बार जोरदार तालियों के साथ अभिनंदन किया जाए हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय डॉक्टर शेखर सी मांडे जी का। तालियां जो है वो बजती रहनी चाहिए। हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय ने बहुत ही अच्छे सुझाव और हम कह सकते हैं रखे हैं हम सभी के समक्ष और मार्गदर्शन भी किया है। Dr. Himanshu Pathak, our guest of honor, Secretary DARE and DGICAR। जोरदार तालियों के साथ अभिनंदन हमारे गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर का। Dr. Punjab Singh, Chancellor, Rani Lakshmibai Central Agricultural University, former Secretary DARE and DGICAR। जोरदार तालियों के साथ हमारे अतिथिगण का भी हार्दिक अभिनंदन। Dr. Trilochan Mahapatra, Chairman PPVFRA, former Secretary DARE and DGICAR। जोरदार तालियों के साथ डॉक्टर त्रिलोचन महापात्रा का भी अभिनंदन। Dr. RB Singh, former Chairman ASRB, former Chancellor, Central Agricultural University, Imphal। जोरदार तालियां हमारे अतिथि महोदय के लिए डॉक्टर RB Singh। अब आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे डॉक्टर गुरबचन सिंह, फॉर्मर चेयरमैन ASRB। जोरदार तालियों के साथ डॉक्टर गुरबचन सिंह जी का भी अभिनंदन किया जाए। पूर्व अध्यक्ष रहे हैं कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के डॉक्टर गुरबचन सिंह। Dr. Aditya Kumar Mishra, former chairman, Agriculture Scientist Recruitment Board। जोरदार तालियों के साथ आदित्य कुमार मिश्रा जी का भी अभिनंदन। Dr. N.K. Tyagi, former member, Agricultural Scientist Recruitment Board। Dr. N.K. Tyagi, former member रहे हैं कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल के। जोरदार तालियों के साथ डॉक्टर त्यागी का अभिनंदन। डॉक्टर M.J. मोडाइल, फॉर्मर मेंबर ASRB। जोरदार तालियों के साथ डॉक्टर M.J. मोडाइल जी का अभिनंदन किया जाए। तालियां जो हैं वो बजती रहनी चाहिए। हमारे सभी अतिथिगणों ने इतने अच्छे, जो हम कह सकते हैं, विचार हम सभी के समक्ष रखे हैं, हमारे साथ वो साझा किए हैं। डॉक्टर के सिंह, पूर्व सदस्य ASRB कृषि वैज्ञानिक चयन मंडल। जोरदार तालियों के साथ डॉक्टर के सिंह जी का अभिनंदन। और अब हम मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे ICAR DKMA की प्रोजेक्ट डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर अनुराधा अग्रवाल जी को, उनके विशिष्ट योगदान के लिए। जो पुस्तक आज जिसका विमोचन किया गया है उसमें उनका बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण योगदान रहा है, अ जर्नी ऑफ एग्रीकल्चरल साइंटिस्ट रिक्रूटमेंट बोर्ड ASRB पार्ट 2 2014-2024। जोरदार तालियों के साथ हमारी जो विशेष हम कह सकते हैं योगदान करता है, उनका भी बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और अभिनंदन। और अब बारी आती है सर्टिफिकेट ऑफ अप्रिसिएशन टू डायरेक्टर IASRI एंड हिज टीम फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ASRB OSS सॉफ्टवेयर। और इसके लिए हम मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहेंगे निदेशक ICAR ISRI PI डॉक्टर सुदीप मारवा और उनकी पूरी टीम को। जोरदार तालियां हो जाएं एक बार इनके लिए। नई वेबसाइट और OSS सॉफ्टवेयर डेवलपमेंट में इस टीम की बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण भागीदारी रही है, बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण योगदान रहा है। जोरदार तालियां जो है वो बजती रहनी चाहिए। ISRI की पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई और चेयरमैन महोदय का भी हम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे और सभी का यहाँ पर धन्यवाद देना चाहेंगे। और अब वोट ऑफ थैंक्स के लिए मैं मंच पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी गरिमा श्रीवास्तव जी को, सेक्रेटरी ASRB। जोरदार तालियां हो जाए।
सभी को सादर नमस्कार। माननीय मुख्य अतिथि डॉक्टर शेखर मांडे जी, विशिष्ट अतिथि डॉक्टर हिमांशु पाठक जी, अध्यक्ष ASRB डॉक्टर संजय कुमार जी, मंच पर आसीन अन्य सभी गणमान्य जन, इस सभा कक्ष में उपस्थित सभी सम्मानीय अतिथिगण और प्यारे सहकर्मी। आज ASRB के 52वें स्थापना दिवस के समारोह के विशेष अवसर पर मैं आप सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करती हूँ। मैं कृतज्ञता व्यक्त करती हूँ उन सभी लोगों के प्रति जिन्होंने इस समारोह को सफल बनाने में अपना महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दिया है। आज के इस महत्वपूर्ण दिन पर जब हम लोग ASRB के गौरवशाली इतिहास को याद करने के लिए और भविष्य की आकांक्षाओं को साझा करने के लिए एकत्रित हुए हैं, आप सभी की उपस्थिति इस अवसर को बहुत ही विशेष बना देती है। सर्वप्रथम मैं अपने आदरणीय मुख्य अतिथि डॉक्टर शेखर मांडे जी का विशेष धन्यवाद देना चाहूँगी कि सर ने हमारे इस अनुरोध को स्वीकार किया कि वो इस कार्यक्रम की अध्यक्षता करें और यहाँ आकर सर ने हम लोगों का मनोबल बढ़ाया। सर, आपके आने से इस मंच का और ASRB का गौरव कई गुना बढ़ गया। इसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत सर आपका धन्यवाद देती हूँ। हमारे गार्जियन के रूप में हमारे सेक्रेटरी डेयर और DG ICAR पाठक सर का मार्गदर्शन और सहयोग हम लोगों को हमेशा ही मिलता रहता है और आज का जो ये कार्यक्रम इतने भव्य रूप में हुआ है, ये भी सर के सहयोग के बिना संभव नहीं था। सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि इसी तरह से आपका मार्गदर्शन और आशीर्वाद हम लोगों को मिलता रहेगा। मंच पर आसीन सभी गणमान्य अतिथिगण, मैं आप सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ जिन्होंने अपने व्यस्त कार्यक्रम में से समय निकालकर हमारे साथ इन खुशी के पलों को साझा किया है। आप सभी अपने अपने क्षेत्र के स्टालवर्ट हैं और आप सभी लोगों की एक साथ इस मंच पर उपस्थिति इसे अत्यंत ही गौरवमयी बनाती है। शत शत नमन आप सभी लोगों को। इस अवसर पर मैं उन सभी लोगों को याद करना चाहती हूँ जिन्होंने इस संस्था की नींव रखी और इसे आगे बढ़ाने में अपना महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दिया। ये उनका विज़न और नेतृत्व ही था जो हमें आज इस मुकाम तक लेकर आया है, और उनमें से कुछ महानुभावों ने आज इस अवसर पर यहाँ आने के हमारे अनुरोध को स्वीकार करने की जो कृपा की है, उसके लिए मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ। मैं अपना विशेष आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ डॉक्टर अनुराधा अग्रवाल, प्रोजेक्ट डायरेक्टर DKMA के प्रति, जिनके अथक प्रयास से आज ASRB के गौरवशाली इतिहास को दर्शाने वाली महत्वपूर्ण पुस्तक का विमोचन हो सका है। मैं विशेष आभारी हूँ IASRI के डायरेक्टर डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद और उनकी टीम की, जिन्होंने आज ASRB की वेबसाइट को एक नए और परिष्कृत रूप में लॉन्च करने के महत्वपूर्ण काम को अंजाम दिया है। बहुत दिनों से इसकी ज़रूरत महसूस की जा रही थी। इस सभागार में उपस्थित ICR और DARE के सभी पदाधिकारियों का भी मैं तहे दिल से आभारी हूँ कि उन्होंने अपना अमूल्य समय हमें दिया। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आपका सहयोग और प्रोत्साहन हमें आगे भी इसी तरह से मिलता रहेगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं आप लोगों को भरोसा दिलाती हूँ कि ASRB अपने विजनरी अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर संजय कुमार के सशक्त और डायनेमिक नेतृत्व और बहुत ही कॉम्पिटेंट और कर्मठ सदस्यों की मदद से न केवल ICR की आकांक्षाओं को पूरा करने में खरा उतरेगा, बल्कि हम लोग सफलता की नई ऊंचाइयों को भी छुएंगे। मैं अपने उन सभी चिंतकों, हितैषियों और सहयोगियों का भी धन्यवाद करती हूँ जिन्होंने प्रत्यक्ष या अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से ASRB के विकास में अपना योगदान दिया है। इसके लिए हम सभी बहुत आभारी हैं। मैं अपने सभी सहकर्मियों का भी धन्यवाद करती हूँ जिनका अथक प्रयास और समर्पण हमारी सफलता का आधार है, और आज के इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में जिन्होंने अपना दिन रात एक किया था। मैं आभारी हूँ उन सभी के प्रति जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में अपना योगदान दिया, फिर वह चाहे मंच सज्जा हो, मंच संचालन हो, व्यवस्था हो या फिर आतिथ्य सत्कार हो। आप सभी का सहयोग ही है कि यह आयोजन इतना भव्य हो सका है और यादगार रहेगा ये हमारे लिए बहुत दिनों तक। आप सभी लोगों का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। अंत में एक बार फिर मैं आप सभी का हार्दिक धन्यवाद करती हूँ और आशा करती हूँ कि ASRB पर आप लोगों का स्नेह इसी तरह से बना रहेगा। कोटि कोटि धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
धन्यवाद महोदया। और अब मैं सभी उपस्थित गणमान्यों से गुजारिश करना चाहूँगी अपने अपने स्थान पर खड़े हो जाएं राष्ट्रगान के लिए।
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
जय हिंद। तो हमारे मुख्य अतिथि महोदय ने जैसे जिक्र किया था कि देश का विकास हो रहा है और इसमें हमारे कृषि के क्षेत्र का अहम योगदान है। हम यूं ही आगे बढ़ते रहें विकास के पथ पर, इसी उम्मीद के साथ आज के हमारे इस कार्यक्रम में बस इतना ही। लेकिन आज आपसे विदा लेने से पहले हम आपको सूचना देना चाहेंगे कि भोजन ज़रूर खा के जाइएगा। पूरी व्यवस्था यहाँ पर की गई है, भोजन का स्वाद ज़रूर चखेगा। आप सभी का दिन मंगल रहे, शुभ रहे। नमस्कार।